Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the third and hopefully final night of our budget hearings for the Portsmouth Town Council April 29th, 2026 meeting. If you could please pay attention to where you came in, the door behind you or the door behind Mr. Reese, and if there happens to be an emergency, we would evacuate the building orderly and head over to the school building and wait for further instructions from our first responders. Now, if you could all please join me in a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence for our men and women in harm's way.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Alrighty, for those who weren't here last night, we made it through the school budget, the police, fire, DPW. Oh. We're all here, even Mr. Payero was here this evening.
I have to say it for the record. Mr. Gleason.
Here.
Ms. Blank. Here. Ms. McDowell. Here. Ms. Patton. Here. Mr. Piera.
Here.
Mr. Reese.
Here.
Mr. Hamilton.
I am here. Okay, again, for those who weren't here last night, we made it through our police, fire, DPW, the school department budget. We also covered the sub budgets underneath the police and DPW, which are, snow removal, road improvement, harbor master, Prudence Island Volunteer Fire Department, the Prudence Island Public Safety Officer, Animal Control, and we approved the revenue as well. I think that covered everything we did last night. And we approved our budget and moved a couple things out of our budget into civic support. So, Mr. Rayner.
Thank you, Mr. President, Town Council, ladies and gentlemen. Just as a recap, following the votes by the council last night, there were obviously some revisions made to the budget, and we prepared those change pages for your packets tonight. Specifically, the expenses related to the police boat were deducted from the appropriate lines in the harbor master budget, which is page 51 of the budget. That's been updated. So money has been taken out of boat fuel, docking fees, equipment, and boat maintenance. That amount totaled to $18,555. And this amount was added to the boat reserve fund. So the total budget for the harbor master remained the same. $18,555 was added to the appropriate lines in the police budget on pages 47, 48. So boat fuel was added. That amounted to $4,875. Docking fees were added. That was $4,750. Equipment was added to by $1,300, and then a boat maintenance line was added at $7,630. So that total budget increased by $18,555. So the new bottom line for the police budget is now $8,530,224.
Okay, so we'll stop there. Do I have a motion to provisionally approve the new police department budget at $8,530,224?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We will probably have to make some revenue adjustments, but we'll wait till the end.
Come to the end and then we'll go back.
All right.
The Prudence Island Volunteer Fire Department, that change, which was already provisionally approved, was made where we increased the Prudence Island chief and the personnel stipends to 4% over last year. You did the same essentially for the EMA director salary. That was increased by $1,000 to $50,319, and you provisionally approved that budget. Additionally, you made a vote to move the Portsmouth Education Foundation line and the amount in the post-prom line in the town council budget and add those to the civic support budget. And we will talk civic support later in the presentation tonight. But you did provisionally approve the town council budget. And then lastly, you did authorize a greater pay increase for the Prudence Island Transfer Station attendant, and you had provisionally approved that budget as well. So if
We didn't change the Prudence Island. We changed EMA.
EMA, didn't we change the?
We didn't do change, no.
Oh, strike that. I thought we did.
We did not.
I had a note that we did. I'll strike it. Is that? Okay. All right. So if we can move, so there was no change done, obviously.
Okay.
So if we can go to the town administrator budget on page 27. All right. So the proposed town administrator budget totals $398,493. This represents a 6.07 increase over the current fiscal year. The salary and benefits portion of the budget reflects contractual and market-driven adjustments. Specifically, the town administrator salary reflects a 2.5% contractual increase. The administrative line reflects a full year of funding following a prior year vacancy and backfill adjustments. Barbara retired, there was vacancy, Rebecca was hired, and that now is fully adjusted in this budget. The stipend line of $9,000, that reflects a one-time contractual payment associated with the completion of the final year of the administrator's contract. Overtime is increased slightly. That reflects salary adjustments in the actual usage. Benefits increased by 7.31%. This is a constant drumbeat throughout the entire budget. This is driven by health insurance and then the associated increase in payroll taxes and retirement contributions tied to salary levels. Operational expenses, dues and memberships essentially remain stable. Those dues and memberships include Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns, the International Community Managers Association, and local newspapers. Office supplies are reduced to reflect actual usage, and there's no new programs or operational expansions proposed. So we're respectfully requesting provisional approval of $398,493 for the town administrator budget.
Have any questions for the town administrator budget? If not, can we have a motion to provisionally approve at $398,493?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Grieve, you have a question on the town administrator's budget?
Tom Grieve, 110 Third Drive. Just a comment. The League of Cities and Towns, last time we asked them to come in and talk and explain their support of a bill that eroded the 4% tax. They also did not tell us what was going on with the zoning efforts that the council is now trying to unwind. And I think we really need to follow the lead of the school department and cut our dues and memberships in half like they did and not renew the League of Cities and Towns. This is the second time they've done or not done something that is harming the town. My thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Is a
Mr.
motion?
President, I just want to make sure we get the bottom line number right. It was 398,993. Is that correct?
I have 493.
It's 493, the bottom line.
Okay. I got it wrong, page 27 there. Is there a new one in here?
You got, yeah,
Okay, I didn't.
it's the new one because of the changes.
Okay, my
that were
bad.
made. Look at last night's packet.
Got it.
Okay. So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Town clerk.
Budgets, next page, covers pages 28, 29. This budget totals $559,677, and it represents a 3.61% increase over last year. Salary and benefits costs reflect contractual and personnel driven adjustments. Salaries increased 4.87%. driven by wage adjustments and step changes. Longevity reflects eligibility changes and timing resulting in a higher year-over-year comparison. Benefits increased 7.88%, again, driven primarily by health. Operations overall decreased by 5.66%, reflecting several targeted adjustments. Advertising is reduced to $11,000, aligning the budget with actual usage. Printing is reduced significantly, reflecting lower copy volume and more efficient document distribution practices. Postage increases to $8,000. That's driven by mailing equipment fees and ongoing rate increases. Document processing remains level at $15,000 to support annual e-code updates. E-permitting software remains level at $900. And just like last year, short-term rental compliance remains removed from this budget and will continue to be funded through the planning department. Some other adjustments, the compensation for our municipal and probate court judges is increased slightly to $9,600, consistent with prior annual adjustments. Miscellaneous expenses are reduced to better reflect actual usage trends. So we are requesting provisional approval of $559,677 for a town clerk budget.
Any questions on the town clerk budget? Yes, Ms. Dow.
So that longevity represents two people, three, what does that represent? Thank you.
Any other questions? We have a motion to provisionally approve the town clerk's budget at $559,677.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Canvassing.
Right, the proposed canvassing budget totals $403,760. This is a 28.55% increase over fiscal year 26. Fiscal year 27 is a major election year, which will include both statewide primaries and a general election, along with expanded early voting, which is required under the Rhode Island law. Personnel costs increased to support the full election cycle. So salaries increased 24.07%. And that's being driven by contractual wage adjustments for the registrar and the registrar's clerk. A significant increase in temporary assistance to support early voting and election operations. Poll worker funding is funded, and that reflects full staffing for both primaries and general elections. And the increase over time for election preparation is there to support training and extended operating hours. Benefits increased 14.98%. Again, this is driven primarily by health insurance increases and higher payroll taxes associated with the increased temporary and seasonal staffing. Operating expenses increased almost 71%, reflecting the scale of a full election year. So printing increases to $23,000. That's being driven by required mailings, including local ballot explanations, ballots, envelopes, and election materials, and then prior experience showing that costs approaching this level has been seen as comparable to previous election cycles. Advertising increases to $10,128, reflecting statutory public notice requirements for both elections. And then the election expenses remain controlled, but do reflect necessary costs for ADA compliance, security measures, voter outreach, and then poll worker costs and election staffing are fully built out based on the anticipated turnout, the State Board of Election guidance, and, as I said, early voting requirements. Travel is increased to $5,500, which supports required training, certification, and conference participation. Some other notable items, board stipends remain unchanged following the adjustments that were made last year. Training and certification funding remains in place. And then costs such as printing, advertising, and staffing are obviously nonlinear, and those are election driven. So bottom line, fiscal year 27 represents a peak election year requiring full staffing and operational readiness, and increases are being driven by mandated election activities, early voting requirements, and staffing needs. So we are respectfully requesting provisional approval of $403,760 for the canvassing budget.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if
Mr.
if
Fair.
I may. Mr. Rayner, and I thought I saw Jack in the audience. Obviously, the biggest driver that I'm seeing in this is this. I'm even afraid to say it because it's the number, and I haven't had the best type of luck in the last couple of weeks. Of driving the change 20K for printing. Would you be able to better explain in further detail what that driver is about? Because if I'm looking back at previous election cycles, there's a huge discrepancy.
In 2021, there was a referendum, a Portsmouth referendum, and the ballot explanation was sent to every household. And it cost $16,000 back in 2021 to do that mailing. So that $20,000 is particularly for, I have to go out for bids,
Mhm.
but I will get the bids. And that's what I anticipate, especially with the postage costs currently.
Thank you for the explanation.
Ms. McDowell?
Jackie, just 1 second. So a peak election year is considered a year with the primary, with the main election, correct? Is that the term that?
Yes,
Okay.
that is 2 consecutive elections within a fiscal year. Even when there is a presidential election, there are 2 fiscal years involved. Because the presidential preference primary is in April, it's in a different fiscal year than the other elections.
So when I look back at 2024
Yes,
and I look, which is considered a peak election year, right?
yes.
And I look at 2027 proposed, it's like $136,000. I mean, the bottom line is 136,600. Can you just help? me?
What you have to look at too is, we used to have in our operational expenses, the costs of the poll workers was in it. In 2024, we had to change the way we hired our poll workers to ensure that they were insured under our insurance plan for the trust. The election world has evolved into a very different world, and security is also an element that is in this budget as well, and those are requirements. We did have an inspection done by the state a while ago, and we've had to make modifications not only to our office, but to the procedures that we do and how we handle things. So the costs of the poll workers are now reflected in the salaries portion. It's been removed from the election expense.
Which is 31,400, right?
Not all,
No.
there's two elements
worker?
to it. Let me go back to my breakdown. Okay. There is, I have primary, early voting, so I have 31 for, we requested $31,420 for primary, and that was at the polls. That's election day. And that is for the primary, early voting, and general election. So that's for the 3 types of,
Yeah, it's all inclusive,
yes,
right?
that's all inclusive. So that is for
31,400.
them. Then when we go to staff, we have staff overtime, which is the hours that are legally required to where our office needs to be open when the rest of the town hall is closed. When it's the last day to register to vote, when it's when we have to attend poll worker meetings, those kinds of things. Those are statutorily required. Then we have. let me see.
Yeah, I was just trying to compare a peak election with this election.
Right,
and-
and also, it wasn't mentioned, but we do have longevity, so that's also in there too. this year is the first year that our clerk is receiving her longevity as well. So there's two people receiving that I'm not sure exactly what number that is because that's determined by, so
9,232.
that's quite a lot. It's two, so that adds to that. Postage has gone considerably higher. The $20,000 for that one mailing, when there does need to have an explanation for local ballot questions and bonds. And that's the cost of printing and mailing it.
Where was that expense in 2021, 2022?
That was a special request. I had to request additional funding because it wasn't voted to mail that until later. So that was a request by the Board of Canvassers to the finance director, and it went through the town council to approve.
We must have pulled that out of, it's not listed as an expenditure in the canvassing, so it must have been pulled out of contingency or something. I don't remember.
That was-
We could look it up. It's an attorney to go for me.
Okay.
I do have the emails that are still there. so I
I'm not
can
worried
look
about
those
that
up.
part. It's just not reflected underneath the historical trends of the budget.
Just one more.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
please, go ahead.
So this year, you did have a surplus.
Yes, we have not spent, see, this is,
92.
we are gearing, our expenditures do not coincide necessarily with the fiscal year. We are now, I am waiting, as a matter of fact, until next week because everything is crazy at the moment. I have an office that's half completed. I have to have it ready for additional workers to be in there to work. We are preparing, as a matter of fact, I left the office today. They're updating the candidate modules, getting ready for that for next month. So this is when we're gearing up to do things. And that's why there's a surplus. I have discussed with the finance department items and purchases that we will need to have before the end of the year. And if the money is not there, then I will have to wait until the other fiscal year budget comes in.
Okay. Thank you.
Sawyer?
Jackie, this is more of a question about the cost of the 16,000, going back to my original question.
Mhm.
Was that for the school bond referenda or was that for?
It
the
was
charter?
two. It had both of them. It had two questions on it. And that's why I have to wait before I can go out to bid because I don't know how many questions and how large the mailing is going to be, what it's going to weigh, what it's going to look like. So I will go out to bid. It has to go out in September. So I will go out to bid probably in July when we're certifying the questions to determine exactly how large of a mailing it is. As a matter of fact, and I just found out how to do a report with just the residential address without the voter's name on it so that I can ensure that it goes to all of the addresses.
And so when you're saying other referenda questions, you're meaning the ones that come from the state and whatever?
No.
Okay, I just.
It is only local questions that we have to explain because the Secretary of State issues a handbook.
Yes.
And that handbook will contain all of the state questions. But I can't have any specifics about our questions until they determine how many questions are going to be on their side, because our numbering system begins where theirs ends. So if they have 20 questions
Or 20.
on the ballot, we're number 21 and 22 if there are two, or if there are three. So it's a process that you have to go through.
Yeah, my question was more about the sheer size of.
Yeah, the last mailing, it was 3 pages. Because it was a special election, we had to explain why there was a special election, what a special referendum was, what a bond issue is. And then we had to have the bond counsel tell us exactly what the details were for the bond. And then the charter question, not the charter, it was a resolution. It was the transfer of property at the time for the senior center. So it was those 2 questions that had to be explained and sent.
We're anticipating a 2 to 3 page mailer going out to.
A 2 to 3 page mailer, depending on the size of it. And, you know, if it, does it go in an envelope? Does it not go in an, you know, those are details.
Thank you.
Any further questions on canvassing? We have a motion to provisionally approve the canvassing budget at $403,760.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Mr. President, can I just ask everyone that when you are voting, that you have your microphones on? Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, Finance Department.
Finance, pages 32 and 33. The proposed finance budget is $1,175,282. That represents an increase of 4.5%. Personnel costs reflect standard adjustments and insurance impacts. Salaries increased 3.36%, as driven by normal wage and staffing adjustments, including the addition of a longevity payment. Benefits increase 23.34%, primarily due to high costs tied to updated enrollment and rates. Operation expenses were driven by liability and property insurance increases. That increased to $549,470. That was a 6% projected increase based on our current fiscal year experience. Auditing costs increased to $32,560. It's due to the new audit contract following this year's RFP. We will continue the 40-60 cost split with the school department. Telephone usage, finance pays for all departments. That increased by 7.14%. That's based on actual billing increases in usage trends. Insurance deductibles and other core operating lines remained level funded to maintain stability and risk management capacity. So in summary, we're asking for provisional approval of $1,175,282 for the fiscal department or financial department budget.
Thank you. Any questions on the Finance Department? Ms. Pical?
Yep. In this budget too, we're going to have a sizable surplus? No, yes?
I believe as of 12/31, I had not paid the actuarial services, so that 48,000 will be expended. The auditing fee had not been paid also as of 12/31. So I should be coming in pretty close.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to provisionally approve the Finance Department budget at $1,175,282?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Human Resources.
Yes, the proposed budget for human resources is $2,244,694. This is a 7.66% increase over the current fiscal year. This increase is being driven primarily by higher retiree-related obligations and healthcare costs. So as you know, the healthcare insurance premium went up. That also includes our retirees. This is partially offset by reductions in pension contributions and workers' compensation insurance, while continuing to support core services, benefits administration, and regulatory compliance. With respect to personnel costs, salary lines increased by 7.43%. That reflects the inclusion of a scheduled longevity payment. Benefits cost decreased by 12.61%. This is largely due to a reduction in the town's defined benefit contribution, which helps offset the increase in health insurance and the increases in payroll taxes and retirement contributions. With respect to operational lines, operations increased by 15.14% due to several key factors. OPEB is budgeted at $1,133,786. That represents a 24% increase based on current retiree healthcare obligations. Workers' comp insurance decreased by 7.69%. That reflects improved claims experience and updated projections. We increased the retirement contingency to $80,000 to maintain flexibility for anticipated retirements, including contractual payouts for accrued leave. Employee testing was increased to $37,000. That's based on current year spending trends and ongoing requirements for pre-employment screening, exams, and physicals required under the various collective bargaining agreements. The administrative fees for the family savings accounts and health savings accounts increased moderately. That's just due to the rising administrative costs. Advertising was increased to $9,000 to support recruitment and required postings. And professional services was slightly reduced. This reflects updated expectations for pension and consulting related work. So the town continues to fund the employee assistance programs and vision care benefits at the current level. And all in all, we are requesting provisional approval of $2,244,694 for human resources.
Ms. Patton, question?
Yeah, I just have a question. Maybe Lisa can help. The miscellaneous expense, can you just, what exactly is that or?
That is the line that we use each year. The PMEA union has a benefit that they receive that they are entitled to clothing each year. So it comes out of that budget line item.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the HR budget? Ms. McDowell? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
You were reaching for your button, so I didn't know which way you were going.
Well, I wanted to make sure I had it on when we vote. I don't want to get in trouble.
All right. She's running a tough ship over there.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get in trouble.
Do we have a motion to provisionally approve the HR budget at $2,244,694?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I do have just,
Okay.
and I just go back to Kayla for 1 second. I might have missed it, but I know we provisionally accepted it, but the health under finance, 56.70. Could you just say that again, or somebody say it again, why that went up like that?
Sure. So in my department, we have 2 family plans now and a individual plan. Prior, there was 2 individuals and 1 family plan.
Thank you.
Love the easy questions. There we go. Next up, we have the legal.
Yeah, so on page 36, we'll find the legal line items. The proposed budget for legal services is $289,900. This is about 11.29% increase over the current fiscal year. This budget increase is a full year under the town's updated solicitor contract, higher than anticipated prosecution levels, anticipated collective bargaining agreements, negotiations, that are coming up in the next fiscal year, and then a more refined alignment of the budget costs with the actual costs that we're seeing. The town solicitor costs, we propose funding of $174,000. That includes their base retainer of $8,000 a month or $96,000. And then projected additional services of $78,000 based on the current year usage trends. Year-to-date spending indicates that the total legal services costs are tracking above what we had originally anticipated in fiscal year 26, which obviously necessitates an upward adjustment to better reflect the actual legal service demand. The assistant solicitor for prosecution is increased significantly to $40,500. This reflects a higher volume of prosecution activity and a more accurate annualized cost based on current billing trends. Labor attorney services, we increased that to $34,000. This will support the upcoming collective bargaining negotiations, which will include fire and PMEA contracts. It also provides capacity for grievance handling, arbitration support, and general labor counsel. Subcontracted or specialized legal services, this is increased to $20,400. This reflects the ongoing need for outside counsel in specialized areas and overflow support, the situation being one classic example. Reserve for claims has been reduced from $40,000 to $20,000. This is based on lower recent utilization while still maintaining a contingency That contingency helps support unanticipated legal claims and expert opinions for specialized legal matters. So all in all, we are requesting provisional approval of $289,900 for the legal budget.
Any questions on the legal line items?
Mr. President, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. This is probably the one I've had the most trouble with. I see that we're having an increase when it comes to specialization, utilization. So I'm assuming obviously our current trends and what we have going on, as you just explained. When it comes to the prosecution, and Jen, maybe you could help with this a little bit. Are we seeing, it's kind of going to sound like an ROI argument. Are we seeing an ROI in the higher rate of prosecutions with a return on people paying fees for the extended prosecution?
It's more nuanced than that. What you're seeing is greater compliance with the DEM regulations
Okay.
regarding cesspools and septic tanks.
And then the other side I have with our town solicitors, one, having two of them, but this now, and still an increased need for specialization, when a huge part of bringing them on was to consolidate all that. Is there any other trends that we're seeing about that?
It's hard to say. I mean, when we submitted the budget, we tried to update this as closely aligned as possible to when we handed the budget to you. But at that time, we were averaging 2 specialists who were assisting with Joe and Geo, and I'm reading the fine print. But we were looking at an average of about, on the order of $25,000 at that point for their services.
Thank you.
Any other questions on legal? We have a motion to provisionally approve the legal line item at $289,900.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 6-1 with Mr. Bayer in the negative. Information technology.
Yeah, page 37. This budget is proposed at $397,728. It's a 4.02% decrease from the current year. As in last year, you'll see that really salary and benefit costs remain eliminated. This reflects the town's transition to a fully outsourced IT service model. With respect to operations, this is where obviously the decrease comes. IT services is reduced 6.15%. This reflects refined estimates for our contracted support based on the actual usage, and includes ongoing vendor support, troubleshooting, stipends supporting IT shared services with the school. With regard to software and licensing, it's essentially level funded, but this supports the Microsoft 365 system used in Town Hall, our cybersecurity protection, our backup and disaster recovery services, the Civic Plus website services, and our Infinite Visions financial system. With regard to equipment replacement, that's been reduced by 28.99%. That reflects the completion of a major uninterrupted power source system that we started that project, and if FY26, we'll finish that this year. So fiscal year 27 is really focusing on targeted replacement and general equipment maintenance. With respect to cybersecurity infrastructure specifically, we continue to invest in what we call endpoint protection through SentinelOne. We implemented the multi-factor authentication and identity management software and protocol. And we've gone to a cloud-based backup and disaster recovery service. And these systems will ensure our compliance with Rhode Island trust requirements, rating agency requirements, state requirements, and federal data security standards. So while last year, this current year represented a major investment year, we're referring to fiscal year 27 as a stabilization year with costs leveling off. We do continue to benefit, as Dr. Rivera stated yesterday, with our shared responsibility with the school IT department and the contractor-based model that we've implemented. So we are requesting provisional approval of $397,728 for the IT budget.
Any questions on IT?
I have a question.
Mr. Gleason?
It sounds like the IT people cover, I think you said 3 different systems in Microsoft 365 here, and there were a couple others, if you could just repeat them, if you don't mind.
Sure. There's a few. So there's Microsoft 365. This is all the administrative work software on everybody's computers and our email systems. Sentinel-1, this is a cybersecurity protection system. There's Dado. This is a system that provides the backup and disaster recovery services. Then there's Civic Plus. This is the system that is the backbone for our websites. And then there's Tyler Infinite Visions Fiscal System. This is the finance accounting software.
Do they also maintain systems at the police station as well?
Correct, yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to provisionally approve the IT budget at $397,728?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Our tax assessor's office,
Tax.
also a very hardworking man in
Yes.
Matt, just so you know, didn't want to leave you out last night.
Tax department is $587,811. This is a 2.32% decrease from the current fiscal year. The salaries increased modestly. Those salary increases reflect contractual adjustments and step increases. There's a full year funding for the administrative clerk position and then normal longevity adjustments. Overtime is reduced from 1,500 to 1,000. This reflects actual usage. The benefits increase just like all the other departments. This is driven by the health insurance enrollments, health insurance premiums and enrollments. With respect to operations, that line or those lines decreased by 17.91%. That's driven primarily by the final year of the town's revaluation program. So we finished the full year revaluation this current fiscal year. So the revaluation line is reduced by 34%. That funding decreases from 100,000 to 66,000. Software licenses are up almost 8%, but that includes contractual adjustments to the CAMA program. The CAMA is the Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal System, tax administration and collection software, and the GIS web hosting services. Collection fees are down 8.33%. This is reduced to 11,000 based on recent collection activity. Professional services are increased to $1,000, and that supports potential appeal appraisals during the revaluation. And then postage and operating costs remain level to support the tax bills and statutory mailings and are aligned with current trends. So overall, we are requesting provisional approval of $587,811 for the tax department.
Questions on the tax? Ms. McDowell?
Yeah, could you just explain that administrative clerk again? You said it's not, the increase of 6.44 is reflective of not a full year prior to, or is that what you said or not? Because I'm looking at 2026, and then I go to proposed 2027.
It's following the cadence of, it was a new position that was layered in, so it's following this step increases that the previously added administrative positions were added, so it was a little bit more than the 4%. It will peak out after 4 steps to be in line with the rest of the administrative clerk positions.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the tax department? Hearing none, do we have a motion to provisionally approve at $587,811?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Planning Department.
The planning department is proposed at $565,352. That's a 0.63% increase over the current fiscal year. So obviously, this is a largely level-funded budget. There's modest personnel growth offset by reductions and realignments in operating expenses. Salary costs increased by 6.37%. This is driven by standard contractual adjustments and a step increase for the planning technician who went from step 1 to step 2, and then continued full staffing of the department. Overtime remains level funded at $6,000, and this supports administrative coverage for the planning and zoning board meetings and replaces a prior stipend-based secretary roles. Healthcare waivers increased modestly. This reflects a prorated adjustment as the planning technician transitions into a different health plan during fiscal year 27. She comes off of the Affordability Care Act and has to start getting insurance. And then benefits decreased by 4.28%, primarily due to a shift in health insurance, as we've been seeing throughout the budget. And then, as I said, single coverage to a family plan and then reduced overall cost. With respect to operations, operations decreased by 13.46%. As I alluded to, the board secretary stipends have been eliminated. The planning and zoning board secretary functions will now be handled internally by the planning technician. Advertising is reduced by 50% based on recent usage trends, and postage, printing, and miscellaneous is reduced by 10%, reflecting lower mailing activity following the fiscal year septic deadline surge. Stormwater management is reduced to $12,000. This reflects continued refinement of the DEM testing requirements. But professional contract services has been increased by 10% to $11,000. That supports the MS4 stormwater reporting, which is federally mandated, CDBG program management, but that is reimbursed through grant funding. So you pay it and then we get reimbursed. And then there's a traffic analysis work associated with the Northern Portsmouth Corridor traffic study. Software licenses are up just slightly, essentially level funded. That supports our host compliance related software and contract. That's what monitors our our short-term rentals. The comprehensive plan is level funded. That line item continues to fund a restricted reserve for the next comprehensive plan update, which we anticipate will begin in fiscal year 32. And the estimated cost for that is, in today's dollars, is projected to be about $150,000. So overall, we are requesting provisional approval of $565,352 for the planning department.
Any questions on planning? None?
I do have one question.
Mr. Gleason?
If I could just get the philosophy behind the 17% raise for the planning technician clerk. That's a new position, I take it, right?
She came in last year at step 1, so this is her first full year at step 2.
That's the increase?
That's the increase.
Step 1 and 2.
Mhm.
Nice raise. Thank you.
Just to clarify, that a lot of people probably don't understand what the steps are. When somebody's hired in the step positions, they don't get paid their full salary. They step up over a number of years to the full salary. So while obviously it's a raise, they're just the longer, it's an enticement to stay in the position and get the full amount that's been authorized in the contract for that position.
Ms. McDowell?
When I look at the Mr. Rayner's approved fiscal year in this budget right here, it shows the approved 2026 as being 561,840. But when I look at the monthly expense sheet that we received, up until 3/31, it shows for the budget figure 540,341.
Yeah,
What
so,
is that?
so that is the comprehensive plan of 21,500. So what I do is I budget as a transfer out. So if you go to the bottom of my finance report, there is a transfer out of 21,500. It helps accounting wise moving from funds, but it is accounted for in my entirety of the budget for the finance report.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, thanks.
Any other questions?
No, just one other one.
Okay.
Just, then is this budget, showing us relatively high surplus as well as of now?
It's about at 90%.
Hmm?
It's about 90%.
Yeah, I know, but
Yes.
what, the surplus I'm talking about?
So based off my encumbrances through March, there is only 10% remaining.
Okay, okay.
Just one more quick question.
Sure.
I'm only accounting for 4 people there, and my favorite cheery person when you first go into the building office, is she under, she's not under planning, she's under building supply, excuse me, building department?
She is under
Yeah.
building.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It is.
We
Yes,
have
Ms.
one more.
Bedell.
So the, also, we have planning board secretary line here. And it's not in yours, in your like monthly sheet. So is that? I didn't see it anyways. Or is that under something else?
It looks
You-
like it's
do you call it
reading.
something
sure.
else?
It looks like it's reading. There's one as zoning board secretary, and then there's one, it looks like zoning board.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a labeling.
It's a
on-
labeling,
On this,
okay.
but it's account 53361.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the planning budget at $565,352
So moved.
Second,
provisionally? Sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Building official that
Okay, building official. Starts on page 42. It is proposed at $431.
Yes.
$431,058. It's a 10.49% increase over the current year. Salary costs are increased by 9.93%. This is driven primarily by a full year of funding for the current building official compared to partial year impacts in fiscal year 26. He was an assistant building official who transitioned up. The former building official left. So he's now going to be accounted for as a full year as the building official. And then the standard contractual adjustments for the clerk position. The assistant building official salary decreases slightly, reflecting a position alignment because Matt was the assistant building official. He's getting a full step. The new person, when he or she does get hired, will come in at the lower step. So that's the reduction there. Benefits increased by 12.6%, again, driven by higher health insurance and the increased contributions and taxes associated with those higher level salaries. Operations increased by 10.09%. This is largely driven by higher inspection demand and the associated contractual costs. So with regard to contractual services going up 11.88%, it's increased to $92,862, reflecting, as I said, the higher volume of inspections based on recent activity trends, but also an increase in the per inspection rate from $35 to $42 per inspection. Training and professional development is reduced slightly while still maintaining the required certifications and licensing compliance. Vehicle costs have been reduced modestly based on usage trends. Maintenance is essentially level funded to support inspection requirements. Postage has been increased. There's a minor increase there. It reflects normal variability in operational needs. All other operational lines remain generally level funded, supporting their day-to-day operations. So in summary, we're requesting provisional approval of $431,058 for the building official.
Any questions on building official? Or our new department, building supply, apparently. And none. We have a motion to provisionally approve the building official budget at $431,058.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Planning board has been removed.
Right, this will be the last
Economic
year. You
development.
see, this will drop off next year.
Yep.
The following page is economic development. This proposed budget is $53,741. It's 2.78% increase. Salary costs increased by 4%, and therefore the payroll taxes increased proportionally. Operations remain level funded. Dues and subscriptions in this budget include funding memberships in Connect Greater Newport, the Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce, and the Portsmouth Business Association. Software support, this maintains subscriptions for grant research and survey tools. Advertising and marketing supports the Downtown Business District initiatives and the Portsmouth Economic Development Committee activities. The professional development line provides for participation in local and regional networking events. Travel reflects actual usage trends, and mailing and postage is maintained at a minimal level consistent with prior years. So we're requesting provisional approval of $53,741 for the Economic Development Department.
Any questions on economic development? Hearing none, do we have a motion to provisionally approve at $53,741?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We're going to jump way up into the back of it now.
Now, if you will go to page 63,
Recreation.
we've already covered everything in between there. So on page 63 and 64, we see the budget for the Recreation Department. Recreation Department is budgeted at $451,132, representing a 9.27% increase over the current fiscal year. This increase is primarily driven by program cost adjustments, anticipated participation levels, and rising operating costs while continuing to support a broad range of community programming. With respect to salaries and benefits, the salary costs increased by 2.46%, and this reflects a standard 4% adjustment for the full-time staff and continued alignment of staffing levels with the program delivery needs. Benefits increased by 8.76%. This is driven primarily by health insurance costs and the retirement contributions aligned with salary levels. With respect to operations, this is programmed to increase by 22.86%. As I said, this reflects expanded programming and a more accurate alignment of expenses with the actual program delivery. So the key drivers here include camps in the program and event expenses. This is increased to $87,846. This reflects higher participation levels across the programs and expanded offerings with more detailed program level budgeting. So this includes the summer camps, vacation camps, sports programs, and community events. With respect to building grounds and maintenance, this has been increased to $14,971. This reflects ongoing maintenance needs and facility upkeep required to support programming. Electricity costs have been revised to reflect updated utility rates and facility usage. The Brown House line item has been adjusted to reflect the actual operational and maintenance costs. And beach operations remain relatively stable with modest adjustments for service levels. All other operational lines remain generally level funded, including vehicle costs, supplies, and administrative costs. So overall, this budget is represents a continued effort to improve cost recovery without compromising accessibility. We are fully aware that full cost recovery would fundamentally change the nature of the program, and it would limit the access to these programs for a large portion of the community. We are requesting provisional approval of $451,132 for the Recreation Department.
Questions on recreation, Ms. Plank?
Question, where we have a leased truck and vehicle fuel for the gas, but we also have a car allowance. Can you help me understand the car allowance?
Correct. There's an entire staff, especially during the summer. So usually the camp counselors, the people doing work down at the beach, guards, they're using the truck. But at the same time, we provide a car allowance for the director because she's using her vehicle to support the department.
Do we have car allowances for other people driving around town using their vehicle? Or is it a unique case?
This is fairly unique because there's one vehicle for the whole department, whereas you have 59 vehicles in DPW. The building official is the only one that drives that car. The EMA director is the only one that drives his car. The other departments are given cars. So the police chief has a vehicle, the fire chief has a vehicle. The DPW director has a pickup truck, the assistant director has a pickup truck. So this is aligned with the other departments.
And how many staff for the non-beach does that cover?
I don't have the specific number in front of me. Perhaps Wendy or Lisa can cover that.
Did you say non-staff for not?
The
non-beach?
non-beach
But
staff.
Obviously that means camp and things like that, so it depends on, she can have 10 to 12 different people, she can have counselors and things like that.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other questions on recreation? Yes, okay. Ms. McDowell?
So with the 2026 budget, and as of 3/31/26, we are running short, correct?
Yeah, obviously, I don't know that we have the last camp, vacation camp figures in there, and then the beach will open obviously in May. It's,
Do you know how much we are short?
As of March 31st, we've expended about 85% of the budget. But don't forget, there's also the encumbrances are included in the budget balance. So anything that we've created a PO for ahead of time would
Yeah.
be included in the budget balance. So even though we're only 75% through and it's showing 85% spent, it's already including POs that are going to be expended in the future months.
So for the 2026, like when all is said and done, even though all is not said and done, you have encumbrances, et cetera, is there a shortage?
We will not go over on this budget.
What's that?
We will not go over on this budget.
Okay,
We will not go over the budgeted amount of 412,000.
okay.
Any further questions? Here none, do we have a motion to provisionally approve the recreation department budget at $451,132?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have our Parks Department.
Which is Melville, page 65. So the proposed budget for Melville is $49,219. This obviously represents a significant increase, $31,219 over the current fiscal year. But that increase reflects the formal establishment and the proposed continuation of a park steward position following a successful pilot program, which we implemented during this fiscal year. As you'll remember, during fiscal year 26, we implemented a park steward program on a trial basis using unexpended funds. As far as we can tell, the results have been overwhelmingly positive. The presence of a dedicated steward has significantly improved the overall park conditions, improved trail maintenance, general upkeep, and responsiveness to routine issues. Equally important, this program has helped transition the workload of the Melville Park Committee. The committee has historically relied on volunteer support for both planning and physically demanding maintenance tasks. This volunteer base has matured. It has become increasingly difficult to sustain that level of hands-on work for this committee. The park steward role allows the committee to shift its focus towards two, long-term planning, stewardship initiatives, and strategic partnerships. One current example of this shift is the committee's collaboration with the U.S. Naval Station on the design and implementation of an aeration system for the upper pond. This initiative was started by them and is intended to improve the water quality and reduce algae blooms. And that kind of represents the type of long-term environmental improvement that the committee can now focus their priorities on. So personnel cost is $29,000. That's what we propose to be budgeted for the park steward position with the associated payroll taxes. Operations funding remains level at $18,000, and that supports the core maintenance activities, which include Pond 1 algae treatment, vegetation control, and trail maintenance. So yes, we recognize that this budget reflects a strategic shift from a fully volunteer-supported maintenance model to a hybrid approach that combines dedicated staff support with volunteer leadership. So we are requesting the continuation of the Park Steward program and provisional approval of $49,219 for the Melville Park budget.
Questions, Ms. Patel?
So I know that when we agreed to this position, we were going to have Steve come in and talk about what he's done or what his, what his expectations are going forward, and that hasn't happened. I just, I have spoken to Steve, but I think it's very important that he come in and talk, if he is going to be the one we're continually hiring, which I think we should, because he certainly is a dedicated person and he loves this, he loves the job and he loves the park. But I do think it's important that we know what's been done, what his goals are, what his objectives are going forward, which I had hoped that had been done. But so I'd like to have that definitely take place. I mean, I'm not against this, but I'd like it to take place relatively soon. And this 29,000 represents a full year at different times. And isn't his services now a contracted service? So it shifts to a town employee now? No. Can you explain that?
He's contracted, so it'll be a 1099.
He'll be a 1099. Okay,
And Ms. McDowell, he's scheduled for May 11th.
great.
All set?
No,
Okay.
so who does, who's the supervisor and who supervises him?
Yeah, right now he is essentially reporting to the Parks and Rec Committee. I've been meeting with Ed Rizzi to determine how this is going to play out in the future. So there's a number of different ways we can do this. We can put him under the Parks Department. My vision right now is that he would get advisory control by the the Melville Park Committee. And then as far as physical and administrative support, that would come from the Parks and Rec Department.
And not the committee, not the advisory committee that he's been part of?
That we can discuss this.
I'd love to discuss it.
Yeah. Well, I met with the Recreation Committee and the Melville Park Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the parks? We have a motion to provisionally approve $49,219 for the parks.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Civic support.
Okay, civic support. This starts on the next page, page 66. The proposed civic support budget is $820,415. This represents an increase of 6.97% over the current fiscal year. With the inclusion of state library aid, total civic support expenditures are $960,972. So an overall increase of 5.78% or $52,490. This section reflects funding requests.
It's under your new from tonight because of the, we moved the $2,000, the $1,500 down. So it was the pages you got tonight that were updated.
No problem. So this section, the civic support, it reflects funding requests that have been submitted by community organizations, cultural institutions, and human service providers generally that contribute to the town's quality of life. And so, as in with recent years, these appropriations fall entirely within the purview of the town council. Accordingly, this budget presents the requested funding levels for council consideration without recommendation, allowing the council to determine final allocations. Key components of this proposed budget, the Portsmouth Library, they are the largest single appropriation at $604,842, reflecting a 3% increase, consistent with prior funding practices and operational needs. The Portsmouth Senior Center increased its request by 33.39% to $112,046, reflecting revised requests associated with their operational and programmatic needs. The Eastern Rhode Island Conservation increased to $2,000 based on a submitted funding request. The Wildlife Rehabilitators increased their funding request to $4,416, reflecting updated program needs and service demand. There is a new request, the Rhode Island Social Skills Academy at $1,500. And then most other organizations remain level funded consistent with your prior year appropriations. With respect to library aid, that's projected at $140,557, and that's a slight decrease of $958. But as in prior years, this funding is provided by the state and passed directly through to the Portsmouth Library. So it's included here for completeness, but does not impact the local levy. The Prevention Coalition funding has submitted a request for $31,500. This funding is anticipated to be supported through the town's allocation of opioid settlement funds and is therefore not included within the general fund civic support total. So in summary, this budget, it reflects the full scope of funding requests received and maintains transparency in presenting these requests to the council for your consideration. Final funding decisions remain at the discretion of the town council. And we are submitting $960,972 in total civic support requests for your approval.
So for me, increases are, well, new monies are, I don't think should be allowed for this year. Sizable increases, a 341% increase to the wildlife, and I get in trouble for this every year. But it's a nice to have, but when we've already added to $21,122 to the budget, we have to find places to help pay those off. I'm also interested to see what the $28,000 increase is for the senior center. I know we decreased them during COVID and when they weren't in there, down from 90,000 to 84. So I could see going back up to the original funding for years at 90,000, but they have a brand new building, fully furnished. So I would like to know, and I know Ms. Patton, you're on the board, and what is the requests? What is the need for the extra $28,000? You know?
As of right now, I believe it's for like electricity and utilities. They don't know what the billing is going to be. They're trying to work that out with the MOA. That's
Mr. Ferber, you're on the board as well. How about that?
271 Spring Street. I'm the treasurer.
If you can just pull that mic up a little bit and talk. There you go. Thank you, sir.
The reason for the increase is basically legal expenses, which are about it's estimated to perhaps be about $7,000. Increased healthcare expenses, Electricity, we just don't know what electricity is going to cost because we've gone from gas to electricity and we're using mini splits. And a couple of the people that are on our board have mini splits and thought that our original guess as to, I think we increased electricity expense by $3,000 or $4,000, and they thought that was way underestimated. So it was raised to 15,000. And see what else.
What specific legal issues do you think this?
Well, bylaws, preparation of the bylaw. The first thing was the memorandum of agreement between us and Church Community Housing. And that's an issue as well because we haven't resolved it entirely yet. And part of the issue we have, which relates to expenses, is we have some shared spaces that we don't fully appreciate the expense allocation for. So for example, we've got basically the residents, the 54 units that are there, they're going to be able to use those spaces after hours. This certain segmented spaces, the library area, the main room, and I forget what the other one was, but the
Fitness center.
what's that?
There is no fitness center.
No, we cut that out because it's just logistically, it just didn't work out. We needed more storage space, and that particular, the room that was designated for a fitness center just doesn't work properly. So we don't yet know how the electricity expenses might be shared, trash expenses,
Janitor.
yeah, the cleaning, we don't know. Currently, even with what we think is a space that'll be allocated exclusively for us, will increase the cleaning responsibility for the person that we've had doing it. So naturally, that person wants to be paid more for doing that. So those are the kinds of things that have caused the increase. And we're basically going into a new building without, a lot of experience with any of this stuff. So I think just the medical expenses, the attorney expenses, the electricity expenses, that's the bulk of that $28,000 increase.
One other subject that was talked about was a food prep coordinator too.
You're right. That's
They talked about that.
17,000 right there.
And that may or may not happen. My personal view is that we increase it somewhat, but not to the total that's there. I think the easy hanging fruit for me is to take away from your favorite, the wildlife rehabilitators, and add $1,000 to the St. John's Food Bank and the.
Well,
wait a minute,
that's we have to add. We still have $21,122 to make up in the entire budget.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we either add that to taxes or we find ways to cut things as we go along.
I think we still have some wiggle room.
All right.
But-
Mr. Hamilton. When you're.
Hang on,
But
are you,
go ahead, that's my suggestion.
okay,
Okay,
I just throw it
now,
out there.
I'm familiar with all your issues there, and I'd like to split the difference. I think if you took a 19% increase, which is to bring you up to 100K, that would cut some off of us, but give you some more money. There.
Well,
That's like $12,000 less than you're at.
12,046.
so
1,046. And
So in my opinion, there's quite a bit of uncertainty with regard to the electricity expense. This is a wild guess as to what it might be, but as I said,
no,
a couple of people have mini splits and they thought our original estimate was.
I have many splits.
Yeah,
And actually, I
I
find.
think your wife was one of the people that suggested we were too low. So, so anyway, so obviously you must be paying a lot for your mini split.
No, I run the wood stove, so it's 75 degrees and they're all.
Oh, okay. Well, in any event, that was the reason for the significant increase in electricity expenses. So I have no idea.
And the lawyer fee, that's just a temporary thing to.
Right, that's right. I was going to say that. I wouldn't expect that we.
There are some unknowns. So what I'm trying to do is you had bills all the time anyway.
Mhm.
I want to cover a little bit more for you. And maybe next year, if you come back and you're.
You'll be nicer.
I don't know, but you'll have a better idea of your expenses, I think.
Right. You should then,
Free stuff. I
you'll
mean,
be nicer.
I don't know what I'm gonna be spending tomorrow either, So
Okay.
so I'd like to make a motion that we increase the Westmouth Senior Center. Can I? Oh, Mary, I'm sorry.
No, can I just ask a couple questions here? So, like all the things that you mentioned
No, it's an
are,
increase.
are new unknowns. And that's why you're looking for this extra.
Well, the two big unknown, well, three unknowns,
Yeah.
the lawyer, the electricity, and the cleaning expenses. Those are the three big unknowns. The others we think are pretty reasonable guesses at our expenses. And of course, we've included our most optimistic guess as to the income that we'll receive because it's based pretty much on a steady flow from the past. And as to the town's contribution, there hasn't been an additional contribution for 5 years. On the other hand, they haven't, as I understand it, they haven't asked for an increase either.
Right.
But there hasn't been, it's spent at $84,000 for 5 or 6
During
years. now.
COVID, it went down to 84. It used to be flat at 90.
Right.
But
So
so.
my other question is, do you ever go into your reserves or your checking account or does that stay stable? Like I had seen a statement sheet and you have about 300,000
We have,
plus?
yeah, total.
Yeah,
right.
do you ever go?
Well,
in-
actually more than, well, if you,
I-
we've got about, I don't have the numbers in front. We've got $200,000 in a CD. We've
Right.
got between $60,000 and $80,000 in an interest-bearing account.
Yeah.
And then we've got a checking account that obviously runs,
Yeah.
up and down. So yeah, but the key target for this money going forward, or for accumulated money going forward, is to eventually get a van for the senior center. That's been like, I guess, the number one target for quite a while. And we probably have enough money for that, but then we have other issues. Who's going to pay for the driver? Is the driver going to be a town employee? Can we get how much are we going to have to pay for the van? Can we get a discount for being we just don't know some of the answers to the questions that are involved there.
I think,
So-
if I may, I think the van is still a gray area because I think that's part of the memorandum of understanding or agreement that hasn't been formulated. You know what I mean? Me sitting on the sidelines at all your meetings, but
Yeah. And
Right,
it's been through the board hasn't fully spoken about the
Right.
Vantage situation.
No, we haven't spoken. I just know I'm relatively new to the board, been on it for 1 year. But when I first got on the board, I was told that, that's been a long time ambition of the board to eventually have a van. And in my opinion,
can't account.
just the CD alone would probably cover the expense of the van. But some people believe in the event of a catastrophe, that's what the money's there for, but insurance covers catastrophes. So I don't personally agree with that. But it's like it's like the town or the school department, you don't want to dip in to these reserves to subsidize operating expenses. So,
But if you had to do it for a year, it wouldn't hurt that bad.
Right.
If we go to Mr. Reese's.
so you're going to be nice, you're going to be nicer to
That'll
us
be
next year.
It is the way it is.
There is an election, so there's a chance that all 7 of us might not be here next year, so you might have a more favorable.
Well, we can hope.
But I like this, the splitting of the difference, and going down to $100,000 is a nice round number, but
Charlene, can you help me relate this to the board? How difficult this council is to work?
as long as we're done with questions, Ms. McDowell, I
When-
think has one more.
The electricity, so there's solar on that building and you don't. benefit-
Well, yeah, you're right. The solar on the building, I don't know how it impacts us because that's one of the issues that has yet to be resolved. We have this memorandum of agreement that's being worked on between the lawyers, but it hasn't been resolved yet. So we don't know, we really fundamentally don't know what the electricity expenses are going to be. And then how will they be split, at least as it relates to these shared spaces that we have in the senior center?
Because if you benefit from that solar operation, that'll be a big plus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I say the electricity expenses are a big uncertainty. And the board basically threw out the $15,000. I mean, it's not a number I made up. It was just the board suggesting that's the number that we should use. And then the same with the legal expenses. I had no idea I think we spent roughly $1,000 already just working on the memorandum of agreement. But that's in current money. That's not from this proposed budget.
Right.
You're good for now?
I have
All
a
right.
question.
Ms. Beck? Yes.
This is a general question. is there a reason why this header is different than the rest of the budgets that we have on all the other pages?
Yes, as I explained, this has been brought up a number of times over the last few years where it has been implied that I'm trying to set policy for the council. I have nothing to do with the civic support, and it was told that it should not be my place to recommend. So I don't recommend. I just let you know what's been proposed and submitted to us. That's why the headers are different.
Okay.
And I personally just followed,
Well, FY 2024.
There's more room, I guess.
So the information presented is different than on the other pages.
excuse me, the format?
The format.
Yeah, well, I inherited the format from the current director, so I assume it's a format that's been presented for several years now.
No, she's talking about the format of.
Oh, your format. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant our
It's
format.
different.
Oh,
It doesn't go back as far.
right.
And there was a
Well,
duplicate. It looks like maybe just the columns that you usually show, maybe.
Yeah, it's a function. Well before your time, we were also received great criticism because the font became too small. So it becomes a function of how much information we can fit on the page.
I still
So,
I
think
guess-
it's too small.
The column headers on every other
yes,
page
yeah, this
Or-
is so different than all the others.
are different.
I don't develop this section.
All right.
Who develops this section?
It's put together based on the format, the information that a previous council said that they wanted presented to them for the civic support. So we follow that format. This is why they have a separate binder.
Gotcha.
I'm not trying to influence what you spend your money on with regard to civic support at all.
Thank you.
All right, now, Mr. Reese. You would
Yes.
like to make a motion to,
Yes, level fund them, give them a 19% increase from previous and make that
Uh,
100.
it wouldn't be level funded.
No, excuse me,
would
make
be
it $100,000 even.
Reduce their.
Reduce the request.
Down to $100,000.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all. Gotta get it right.
I'll second that.
All right, let's tackle that one first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Street. This Patton, you can't vote on it because you were on the board. You
So
should, you need to you need to get a recusal form, sorry.
How about me as liaison?
No,
No.
that
Okay.
doesn't count.
All right, just checking.
Wives on the board might is close, but we'll.
We'll let it go this time.
All right. So the motion passes 6-0 and 1 with a recusal from Ms. Patton specifically on that line item. You can vote on the rest of them. And the overall. I would like to see a motion to level fund the wildlife rehabbers at $1,000 again.
So I'll second that.
So moved.
Okay, you so moved it and you seconded it, but you seconded it before. I just moved it, but that's okay.
Well.
So we're going down to $1,000.
And
Got it.
you're in a hurry, I can tell.
No?
I'm sure this will pass, but I'm not going to support it. I think we should give them a little bit more money for what they do.
Oh,
I will agree with Mr. Gleason. I think we should probably give him something.
it was the same level funding as $1,000, not wiping it out, just.
No, I'm saying.
I'm just saying a little
They're
additional.
asking for more for programmatic stuff than maybe this year, probably going to 1,500 versus the whole thing.
I also agree.
It gives them a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay, well, there's a motion on the table, so we will vote on that one first. If it fails, we'll vote on, well, somebody can make another motion. So the motion on the table is to level fund the wildlife rehabbers at $1,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
Okay, motion passes 4-3. I also don't feel we should be.
Mr. Gleason?
Mr. Gleason, Ms. Perro, Mr. Blank in the negative. I also don't feel we can bring on anybody new. I don't really know what the Rhode Island Social Skills Academy is. It sounds like a worthwhile organization. But I think social skills should probably be taught at home. just me personally. Is
Can I
there-
make a motion,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President? I'd like to add $1,000 to the Martin Luther King Center as well as St. John's Food Bank. Some of that money you just took out of the wildlife rehabilitators.
Okay, so we would add 2,000 back in, 1,000 to Dr. Martin Luther King Center, which would make them 6. Just want to make sure everybody's understanding of this. And then the other one was the food bank. Quinnick Island.
I didn't get a second yet, so you might want to wait.
Second.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we do need to change that name though, because they're the Aquidneck Food Bank, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
That would make them $6,000. They are no longer at St. John's, and St. John's is for sale. If anybody wants to buy a lodge,
No longer.
no longer for sale.
No longer,
Wow.
so.
Ms. Patton?
So then if we do that, then we still have to make up the $2,000 somewhere else,
No,
or is it?
no, because you're taking it out
Okay,
of the
that's right.
3146 that was just removed from the
Okay.
wildlife rehabbers. We're only gonna take 2,000 of that, so
Okay.
that would still leave us with 1416 so far. All those in favor of adding $1,000 to the food bank and Dr. Martin Luther King Community Center? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes
Thank you.
7-0. All right. The $1,500 for Rhode Island social skills. Anybody want to tackle that one? Or we're just gonna leave it in there?
Do we have?
Seeing
any
as we don't
money
know what it
issues?
is, and they're not here to represent themselves, I make a motion to remove that funding.
You can remove it, or you can move it to the library, you can put it someplace else, but if you want to just eliminate it,
Can eliminate it.
okay?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, that brings us, Ms. McDowell?
Yeah, I just, I'm looking again, I had some questions last year and got some clarity on that last year, but I need some more clarity on it this year. The Prudence Island School Foundation, I saw their application. But I didn't see what and it looks like they've spent, if you can update me, Kayla, if they've spent any more than the 25,286. No, not that. Have they spent all the money? Do you know? I don't see anything spent again.
We send that twice a year. So the first installment would have been on July 1, and then the second installment would have been on January 1. So
Okay.
you're only seeing 50% allocated at that point in time, but as of today, I have sent over 50,571.
Okay, and on their application, if you could just take a look at it too, Mr. Rayner, I didn't see, it said that what the things they proposed to do with the original 50,000. It doesn't give amounts or anything like that. They've spent 25,286 on this, but what do they plan to do with the new money coming in, I guess is what I want to.
I just want to clarify,
Okay.
By the sheet that you're reading right now provided by us for expenditure civic support, it does not necessarily mean that they've spent the 25,286. That means that the town has given 25,286.
Okay,
So it does not mean that the organization, the school itself has spent that.
thank you
money.
for that clarification. So on their application, it lists some things that they've done. But there's no money associated with it as to how much they've spent or plan to do, or, I mean, I think we're in the same boat as we were last year without clarity on this. And $50,000 is a lot of money if we don't have clarity on what they're gonna, what the anticipated work is going to be this year and what was done last year. So I guess I can't, I'd like to put this on hold again if we don't have clarity.
I'm looking. They write here that this year we'll be focusing on a gutter system to prevent rot. new trim, soffits, fascia. They're insulating a new roof on the addition, and they're overhauling a pump. And then if financially possible, they're looking into a new hot water heater and a heat pump through Rise. Additionally, they have their homeschooling costs, so the funding supports teachers' salary, health benefits, transportation.
I thought that was out, that homeschooling line last year, no?
It can change year to year depending on if they
Yeah.
get a teacher, or if there's a student that wants to stay at the
Yeah.
island.
Do you see anything of what's been done this year? Did they, I know they talk about their goals for next year, but there's no value to those things that they mention, and I don't know if they've done what they said they were going to do last year with the 50,000. So I just need a little bit more clarity before I vote on that. Or I wish we would all get clarity before we vote on it.
Mr. President, if I may, and Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, and Kayla as well. Isn't there an MOA between the town, the school department, and the foundation? And when it comes to a sustaining monetary amounts issue?
Yes, there is a memorandum, where the town, well, I don't want to read the whole paragraph, but the bottom line is that the town has agreed that they will support this foundation through a contribution through civic support portion of the town's budget in an amount agreed to the formula. And this, obviously this goes all the way back to when the school operated it, and then the school stopped operating it and reverted back to the town.
Yeah, we had this discussion last year and talked about how that MOU, MOA is basically obsolete. So that's my feeling on this. It's a lot of money if we don't have some idea of where it's going.
Can we
Scott?
get them to come here or like last time, I believe they were on.
We can have, Kathy's not online. I don't see her, at least.
Okay.
But we can get further explanation or have her explain it. They wrote down what they're planning on doing. That's
Maybe they
what
can
it-
let us know what they did last year.
Yep, we can ask for follow-up for what they spent the money on this year. This current fiscal year. All right, so if I did my math right, and Kayla, you can correct me, we are now at $803,953. I don't have the state library in there.
Just to recap, just make sure we're all on the same page. So Portsmouth Senior Center went to $100,000.
Yes,
The Dr. Martin Luther King Center went to $6,000.
correct.
The Wildlife Rehabilitators went to $1,000.
Correct.
The Aquidneck, written here as St. John's Lodge Food Bank, went to $6,000.
Correct.
And the Rhode Island Skills Academy was zeroed out.
Correct. Which got me to a total of 14,962 to be subtracted out of the 818,915.
Can you read your overall number?
$803,953. And then overall, I'd have to just, now you're gonna make me do math again?
I think
959,
I'm missing one, I'm sorry.
472 minus,
And that's leaving in the Prudence Island School.
yes. 944,510.
1,000. 6,000 for the food bank. And zeroed out the skills. Yeah, so that's total. Make sure that adds up.
944,510. What number are you getting?
805, 453.
I got 803,953. I'm going to the bottom line now that you asked me to get to.
Yeah.
So we removed $12,046. We removed $1,416 and we removed $1,500. So unless I added those wrong.
We're still coming up with 805, 453.
One thousand and 46. Yeah,
You started with the 824.15. Is that the number you're going with right now? You're subtracting from?
I'm subtracting from 818.
No?
Because then you could put in.
It's 820.
Oh,
You got it.
the number
I've got the
20.
other one. That's right. I got the wrong pages from yesterday.
So you
Fine.
can't do math.
We'll go with
Remember-
yours. Well, I can't do math. I have the wrong numbers.
You added in the Portsmouth Education.
That's right. So that's the extra
Foundation.
$1,500.
There you are. Okay, so your
So-
total is 805, 453.
That would jive with what I have now for the extra 15. All right. Do we have and then that would make the bottom line with the library aid.
$946,010.
Okay,
Can you repeat that?
946.10. So with all those puts and takes and everything else, we now have a request for provisional approval of civic support in the amount of, well, do you need to do both? You want the bottom line?
You do
Or just-
both. You
okay.
always do both.
All right, so we'll do the civic support total of 804, 805, 453.
Yes.
Motion to.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We can still change this because it's provisional once we hear from
Yes.
the foundation.
Can change this right up until 7 o'clock on
Oh,
June
Please don't tell me that.
26. Whatever the date is, when's it, the budget hearing, somewhere around that date.
Well,
All
the
right,
budget hearing is the 11th of June.
11th of June?
Yep.
Okay. So you have up till 8 o'clock on that day to change it. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0, and then the total bottom line with the library added in, I would request a provisional approval of $946,010.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, if we can go to page 69.
All right.
Here we see the proposed capital improvement plan for next fiscal year. So as we do each year, this process begins in August, where the departments work with me to identify and prioritize the capital needs. We then go through a pretty strenuous review process to evaluate those requests based on urgency, cost, and then the overall impact on the community and the levy. This year's proposed capital plan totals to get the exact amount, $847,941. That is an increase from last year, and I want to address that directly. The CIP didn't change, so that's in your book.
So you're gonna go through each of the line items and tell us what we're doing?
I'll walk you through.
Thank you, sir.
So the increase reflects a combination of deferred needs from our prior needs, ongoing facility maintenance requirements, and targeted investments in equipment and infrastructure that we can no longer continue to push off. That said, the same discipline was applied this year as in prior years. We worked to keep the overall levy within our target, which means not every request made it into this year's plan. Many items were deferred and remain in the out years of the CIP, where they will continue to be evaluated as funding allows. I would also note that this is one of the few areas within the budget where we are able to build some capacity this year. By addressing these capital needs now, we are doing so without creating any structural deficit. And it helps position us for the additional capacity we may need in fiscal 28 when we are looking and we're planning for the first debt service payments associated with the school bond that'll be voted on in November. So in other words, by being deliberate about what we fund in the CIP this year, we're trying to smooth out the financial impact of that future obligation and reduce the pressure on the tax levy in fiscal year 28. So this plan continues to focus on our core priorities, maintaining and replacing essential DPW equipment, including a 1-ton truck and a new mini excavator. targeted improvements at Glen Manor House, including the dining room floor and continued work on grant-approved storm doors. Public safety investments to include police equipment and fire apparatus needs, and then continued investment in recreation facilities. As in prior years, a significant portion of the plan is driven by DPW. That's where we see the greatest pressure from aging equipment and infrastructure, and these are essential investments to keep our operations functioning effectively. You'll also see meaningful investment in recreation this year. They're reflecting ongoing improvements at Glen Park or related facilities, which continue to be a high-use community asset. We have applied for a grant funding, congressional grant funding to address the demolition of the Coggeshall School Building and construction of a new ball field at the site. If that grant is approved, we will reprogram the funding for the Glen Park playground structures toward that project as a grant match. If that gets approved and we do that, switch over to the Coggeshall project, then the Glen Park playground structures would then be incorporated into the FY28 CIP. So looking ahead, the CIP identifies approximately $3.7 million in additional needs in the out years. That reinforces why this planning tool is so important and allows us to anticipate and manage those costs over time rather than react to them. So we respectfully seek the council's provisional approval of the fiscal year 27 capital plan as presented.
So I think one of the big things to take out of this is that because this is not ongoing operational needs like salaries or electricity, this is where you can build in, where we can build in that potential need for payment for any bond expenses next year if the bond passes in November. If the bond doesn't pass, then we won't have the needs for that and it will be lesser. If we strip out too much money, then we have the potential, if the bond passes, to be going over the cap next year. So just keep that all in mind as you look at these things. Mr. Reese, yeah, questions? Not yet? Anybody have questions? Ms. Blank? Everybody's reaching for buttons when nobody wants to talk. Okay, go ahead.
I just have a few questions. For the Glen Park Stonewall repairs, when we had gone through the Newport Polo and he was reconfiguring the Stonewall, how is this delineated from that effort?
He's doing the lower portion. This is the upper portion of the stone walls. Before, but this repair is for stone walls prior to the Brown House. He's making adjustments to after the Brown House.
Okay.
Or some of this could be next to the Brown House too.
And also part of his plan is he's going to make an access for vehicles in the stone wall, which will need to be repaired. And in, consideration for you allowing him to do that, he's going to have his mason repair some of the stone wall on the other side.
Okay. And then under the DPW, the equipment replacement of the 1-ton truck, does that mean that we are able, with the word replacement, I assume that means that we're able to, are we replacing one? Are we selling one? Or are we adding one?
We're replacing, generally we drive these things so the wheels fall off, and then they go on muni bid.
And then they go
We
what?
try to sell them. If they can't be reutilized somewhere else, but generally, they're pretty well rusted by the time we get rid of them.
All set?
Okay.
Mr. Reese.
All righty. This is the Glen Manor dining room floor. I personally viewed and walked the floor, and I met with Ron Marble, very nice guy, on site. And he explained to me that it was just resurfaced, refinished, and any repairs were made on it at the time. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And it also has a southern yellow planking pine underneath it, and then underneath that is a 1/4-inch plywood. So it's a nice, flat, smooth floor. I don't think it's one of the most high-used areas, and like he said, he put it on the list but he was good. He realized that it really doesn't need to be replaced now, but he just had brought it up. So based on that, having walked on it, having seen that they just refinished it, it's not that there's not the floor in the main ballroom and not the room next to that, but further north, it's the one where Santa usually is. And he was good with that because he said the problem is the next time it needs to be done, next time it needs to be sanded, it needs to be replaced. So we'd be trying to replace a floor now that they just refinished. So I'd like to remove that from this list and put that off.
If I may, and I'm sure that some folks will speak to this. Yeah, it was refinished, and it was made to look nice. That gets them through this next season, right? There's not much of an off time, but it will need to be refinished again before the next season. And there's not enough surface left on there to resurface it. So that's why it's put into this fiscal or this capital plan takes us all the way through June of next year, the beginning of the next wedding season. And that's why this is being programmed this way.
All right. Well, Ron was pretty good about it. So anyway.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm very good.
Can you just pull that microphone down a little closer
Yes.
to you? Thank you. And identify yourself for the record.
My name's
please.
Brenda Dorn. I'm
Thank
at
you.
78 Church Lane. I'm the chair of the Friends of the Glen Manor House. I'm here representing the executive board. We're committed to the preservation and restoration of a home that is over 100 years old and generates a substantial amount of revenue for the town. Just to give you a little bit of background, our organization has contributed the past year over 18,000 in landscaping and flagpole installation. We're providing an additional 5,000 to hire a consultant for the estate to be on the National Registry of Historic Places. Rob Marvell, who oversees the Glen Manor House, and Lizzie Desbia, the CEO of Russell Moore and Catering Events, were not able to be here this evening, but they sent me information that addresses the dining room, the condition of the dining room floor.
Here's one of them online. If they would like to speak, they can raise their hand and,
Oh,
and-
RJ's online, right?
yeah. Well,
Okay.
oh, there they go.
Do they want to speak? Because
He raised his hand. Or she
Okay.
raised her hand.
so I
yeah.
should sit back
No, you
because,
can stay right there. You're good.
okay.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize that I couldn't be here in person tonight.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, I'd love to speak to the Glen Manor floor. We actually talked with Rob today. He sent us some information about that he's actually had to repair a couple holes in the past 4 weeks. With there's some additional areas that still need attention. So from what he told us today, he said the floor presents a little bit of a safety hazard, particularly for our guests in heels. During an event, it is pretty well used. I mean, the whole inside of the house is pretty well used, and all the floors. And we've been lucky enough to, replace the ballroom and the library floor, and this would be the last piece of repairing the whole floor throughout the Glen Manor. So, and it will have some substantial usage this year. I think we have over roughly 125 weddings. So we'll have a lot of people going in and out, walking on the floor, again, with probably some similar volume anticipated next year. So, right, in his opinion, he said deferring this for 1 or 2 more years significantly increases exposure of, and risk to people potentially injuring themselves.
Okay. Thank you for the update.
He basically said everything I was going to say because I got the same information. I do want to say that Russell Warren has contributed to several projects at the Glen Manor House themselves. You probably know this, repairing the awning. They did prior flooring work, landscaping, gardens, and ongoing efforts to secure grants. Right now, we have a grant for over 100,000 that we're hoping because the loggia needs repair. And we have people coming out looking at that very soon. So again, what I was told, the floor is actively deteriorating, poses a safety liability risk, and with the volumes of events should not be deferred. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. I wasn't told that when I was there, and I wasn't shown any of the things. All I was shown was that the floor was repaired before the poly was put on it. And he showed me one spot that they said they repaired, and that was the end. I walked the whole floor, so. And I don't think anybody's gonna go through it because there's plywood underneath it and there's southern yellow pine under that, but. And I'd just like to say that, that's a large portion of the money we get. You know, I mean, that we get maybe and I think it's less this year. We usually get around 290K. This is 105K out of that 290. And this is just one item. So that's why I had the consideration of that. So.
Right, but it's an asset we own that we can't let deteriorate any further than it has over the past, so. Ms. Patton?
Yeah. So I have some questions, under recreation. The Glen Park horse ring, is that for replacement of the whole thing, or is that to, do upgrades?
That's for a replacement. It is rotted. According to DPW, it's essentially beyond repair at this point.
So they're gonna replace the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Gleason?
While you're on, excuse me, while you're in the Glen Park, what are the exhibit hall improvements? Is that considered the 4-H area?
That's the exhibit hall's the first building on the left behind the playground.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing.
Concrete
project.
block building.
Is it a concrete block?
Pardon?
Is it a concrete block building on the left? Am I
No.
thinking of something else.
No, you're thinking
I'm
of
thinking of the.
no,
near
the one that's right behind
Okay.
the playground that's in there now. It's kind of hidden by bushes and trees.
Covered, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this project has been ongoing for years. There's just a number of projects that we try to do in there with the goal of someday making it a better space that people could actually use on the inside. Right now, it's pretty much just storage. And the issue that we have during camps, other than, you know, the picnic area, there's no place for people to go inside.
Gotcha. I'm happy to hear that the riding rink, there was rumors around they were tearing it down and not replacing it. So it's good to see that they're still going to use that in the future. But what is the future for the 4-H facilities? Is that something we need to put money into as well?
That's in the out years.
Out year. Okay. Donations are welcome.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Wrong button, sir. There you go.
I had, well, red means bad. All right. I just had another question on the mini excavator. I think that might be something that we can put off till next year. I mean, we have small and big backhoes with attachments. They'll do almost the same thing. A mini excavator is kind of a unique piece of equipment with a special use. So I want to see what we're going to do with that.
It's going to solve two problems that we have. One, Prudence doesn't have a newer backhoe. Their backhoes are very aged. They don't have a thumb to pick up
This is for Prudence.
for Prudence. So what we're going to do,
Oh,
if we get,
it didn't say that. I mean,
It's not for Prudence.
It's not for Prudence.
no, what I'm saying is,
Oh,
so one of the
okay.
problems it's going to solve is the two backhoes we got now, we're going to send one of those to Prudence.
Oh, okay.
So that way we'll have a backhoe and a mini X here. The mini X is, we have plenty of outfalls in town and they're in residents' backyards.
Oh,
And we can't get to them with the backhoe. Mini X does a lot less damage to the lawns, and we also have the spillway at Melville that needs to be cleaned out.
all right.
And all those projects right now, we're currently contracting out.
So this is to bring those back in-house?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. McDowell?
Could you just go over the explanation again for Coggeshall demo and Glen Park Playground? It's with that or there.
Correct.
Because I'm having a hard time understanding that.
Right. So we applied for a congressional grant to do the demolition of the Coggeshall School and build a new baseball field at that site. If we get that grant, there's a required grant match. We don't know if we'll get that grant. We may not know until late in the fiscal year. If we do get that grant, we would program this money for the Coggeshall demo and the baseball field. Or if we don't get that grant, then we'll apply that to the Glen Park playground structure, which is an ongoing project. I mean, it doesn't look like an unfinished project now, so it's not going to be an eyesore or anything like that. But we would add then the playground structure project, complete that project in fiscal year 28 instead of fiscal year 27. So that's why it's an either or. We were looking to, I could have put them both in there, but there was great pressure to be under the levy. So this was an area where we thought we could do one or the other, but not both.
Demo virtual school movie.
May I just ask the anticipated cost to do the demo and the ball field? Are you talking about $350,000 total?
No, it was quite high, and I can't remember. Leah, do you remember the amount? Yeah, I can't remember. We submitted that paperwork a couple months ago. I'll get it. I'll distribute it to the council and let you know what the full cost of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the grant that you would receive is more than double of what you're putting up. I would
It's
guess.
much more than our match.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right. The 162 is the matching portion.
Yeah.
For the grant. Ms. Madden?
Yeah, so with the Glen Park playground structures, it doesn't look like an eyesore, you're right. It looks very nice that, the new fixtures and structures down there. I'm just a little disappointed that we didn't put anything in here for Frank Carson Playground. We spoke about trying to get that playground up and going. We put the $20,000 in there. And I guess at this point, that may just take care of removing the old basketball court that's down there. I'm not sure if we had a figure. I know that Park and Recreation Committee was working on getting some estimates and figures for structures down there. I just would like to see something, placed down there in a figure. And not just everything down at Glen Park, just spread the wealth kind of thing.
Sure. It's in the plan. I don't know what year.
We
it's gonna
have the
get.
$20,000 that was approved last year. That stays. That doesn't go anywhere. We're also looking at other projects that come in under what's budgeted. We take that money and we can add that to the fund. I'm not sure how much we have now devoted. Frank Carson. It's 20,000, but we were looking at, we'll look at the end of this year and any money that came in under what was projected, our plan is to put that into the Frank Carson. There's a couple things that have to be done there. Once we do any work there, we have to make it ADA compliant, and the topography of that makes it a bit difficult. So that's going to eat up most of the cost. But we have not forgotten about it. I promise you, we have not forgotten about it.
Thank you.
Ms. McDowell?
Yeah, I personally would just like to see the Cogshell demo. I know that right when we got on the council, we had a presentation about the demo and the individual costs associated with that. And from what I remember in years past, I mean, it's talked about all the time about the demolition. And I know we've applied for the grants, but in the event that we don't get the grant, I do still think that we should concentrate on that. So to have another thing attached to it right now, I don't think is a good idea.
It's not attached to it. Are you talking about?
It's
All right.
It's if you don't get the grant, then you revert to the playground structure, correct?
Because we would need $400,000 or $500,000 to do the entire project. So the 162 is just to cover the match for the grant if we get the grant. If we don't get the grant, then we would have to pony up 500,000 to do the entire project out of our own funds.
Or we could look at doing, starting with half the building and start the demolition in a progression, in a stage. That's how what I feel.
Mr. Reese?
Yes, would it be possible to hold that funding just for the Cogshell School demolition only? And the reason is, like you said, if we don't get this grant and we spend the money on playground equipment or something else, then we're going to apply for the grant again. We're going to have to come up with the additional money again. This way we will have it. That's part of it. That starts us down the path of saving towards getting it. I'd like to, if I can, I'll make a motion to fund the demo of Cogshell School only with that funding and hold it just for that. So that's an intended purpose.
So you want to encumber this specifically for that? Obviously, we're not going to be able to knock it down with the 162. But you're saying if we put the 162
Right,
aside this year.
If that's the
and then you
base,
put
if
another-
that's the base that we need
Okay.
to
You
go
want,
along with the grant we're supposed to get, we don't want to get rid of that ever, because if we get rid of it, we're going to have to look for it again. This way, we have it in a budget, we're ready, we apply for the grant, we explain it to them what we want to do. Like, for example, that's probably a good site for an auxiliary fire station up that end of town, reduce the response time. We may be able to get some grants towards that. So I'd like to make a motion to hold that money strictly for the demo of Cogshell School.
okay, so if we don't get the grant, we're just going to encumber it
Yes.
for the future
Right.
and put it into a restricted
I
account,
mean,
essentially.
I would imagine you could bring it back to the council and we could
That's,
free it up.
that's fine with me.
I
I would
just,
second the motion.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a question. So is it just the demo or with baseball field? Does that go to?
The grant would
Right.
cover everything.
Okay.
The goal is for the grant to cover removal of the building, the asbestos, and then install another Little League field there.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, any other questions on that?
One more.
Yeah.
And the grant was applied for when?
This was the latest round of congressional directed spending. I want to say it was maybe February, March timeframe. We started answering questions before Christmas timeframe on this. And then Congressman Amo was the one who picked it up.
And the anticipated timeline? No news on that.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll fund Department of Homeland Security first, who knows?
but most likely it would be hopefully before the end of this fiscal year, which would be October for the federal
For
government.
them, yeah.
Any further questions? So the motion is to encumber the $162,000 to be solely used for Cogshell for demo and new field. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Any other questions on CIP?
Let's see. No.
Mr. President, motion to provisionally approve the total for the capital improvement plans at $847,941.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
So if we could go to page 80. Here we'll just, this is not part of the general fund, but we always discuss during this time period, the enterprise funds.
Oh,
And it's important this time because we're talking about, obviously, the waste enterprise funds. So just for everybody's knowledge, enterprise funds are used to separately fund and account for specific town operations that are intended to be financially self-sustaining. So these funds are distinct from the town's general fund, and they're structured so that the revenues generated by the activity, typically through user fees or lease agreements, cover the full cost of providing the service or maintaining the property. The town currently maintains 4 active enterprise funds. So the first one we see here on page 80 is the Glen Farm Equestrian Center. So in accordance with the concessionaire's contract with the town, the operator of the Glen Farm Equestrian Center is obligated to remit a base rental fee of $19,422 plus 5% of their annual gross receipts. Per the agreement, an amount not to exceed the first $5,000 in revenue share generated shall be credited back and reinvested in repairs, renovations, and long-term maintenance of the facility. The finance director and our economic development director, they monitor this arrangement through periodic reviews with the proprietor. So at present, there is approximately $107,000 in a restricted account earmarked for repairs and maintenance of Glen Farm. So for FY26, we project rental revenue of $19,422, and we request provisional approval of $19,422 for this enterprise fund. And again, that's used for grounds maintenance and facility repairs.
Any questions on the question? Ms. McDowell? Sorry.
The contract is coming up when, next contract renewal?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can answer that for you first thing.
I would say it was renewed 2 years ago. It's a 5-year contract, Mr. Rayner?
I believe so.
Yeah, three rollover periods. That's the second one.
And I take it that they're holding their end of the bargain as far as, you know.
Yeah, we have periodic reviews. We have to remind her, but I'm also going to admit that she has to remind us too, that we're not always doing it just due to funding. There are things that we can do. Sometimes we don't get to them as fast as she wants and vice versa, but we do work well together, and the facility is much better now than it was when she took over.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to provisionally approve the Glen Farm Equestrian Center Enterprise Fund at $19,422?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, the next one. This is the transfer station budget. I put this is in the packet that I gave to you today based on the discussions that we had last month and on Monday night. We've developed this budget. So this transfer station budget and the operations were discussed Monday night, and based on council direction, the waste division manager position has been moved to Public Works. And one Waste Connect employee is being requested to be removed from the budget starting July 1st. So based on current sales of 2,043 stickers, we request provisional approval of $798,436 for the Headley Street Transfer Station Enterprise Fund. And that would, based on sales of 2,043, we would recommend a sticker price of no less than $331. We usually round that off to make it easier for the clerks.
And just to clarify here, that includes under your repairs and maintenance, a predicted amount of $44,000.
You had asked, the council had asked that $20 per sticker go to a repair and maintenance fund. That would have come out to $44,000, which you see there in the repair and maintenance.
Thank you.
Mr. Pyro, you
Thank
were
you,
here
Mr.
Monday
President.
night, so if you need some clarification, go for it.
No. I've been following along, even through the tough times you guys are entertaining. Mr. Rain, I just want to clarify with the transfer station sticker that I know there's a number, although small, of residents that both reside here on the mainland and on Prudence Island, and they would be able to use both under one sticker cost.
It's that's up to the council. I mean, up until the recent changes, the annual sticker cost was the same whether you lived on Prudence or here. So you could use either station. The nuance now is that households on Prudence, the eligible households on Prudence are going to be charged $175. That sticker is for the Prudence Island Transfer Station. I think it could be a bit awkward to say that you buy a $175 sticker, and if you have a property here and on Prudence, you pay $175, but you can use the Headley Station. I think that's a bit problematic. I don't know how we solve that.
I think we just do it the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have a-
If you have a house on Prudence and on the mainland in Portsmouth, you buy, and you use that transfer station, you buy the Headley Street Transfer Station sticker, which allows you access to Prudence.
Not the other one, I would agree.
Yeah, that would absolutely be
Since
the
we're
way to
making up the difference for the Prudence side, we're not doing that here on this side.
Yeah.
We need the funding more here than we do there.
And I think it would be more of a administrative thing, because given the number of individuals is,
It's probably a half a dozen or
yeah,
something
half
like that.
dozen, it's insignificant, but I think it would just be good for residents.
Yeah.
Just a comment there. I just, I do wish that when we presented to the Prudence Island Planning Commission, that there was some clarity, more clarity. I mean, others were on that. The information we got in our meeting was that one sticker was for both places. If you bought a Prudence Island. And I agree that that's what it should be. However, I wish someone had said that at the meeting that we had with them.
There's the man that said it, Mr. Rodrick.
I did not clarify it, I guess, the best I could, but I wasn't talking about the future. I was talking about the past and what was done in the past. In the past, the sticker was used, it wasn't to be used for both places. We were thinking that the Prudence Island people who had a sticker there, and on odd trash days that they couldn't go to the dump, if they were driving over here, they could use the transfer station over here for their Prudence Island household, not for a household they owned on the mainland.
I understand that now, but that's not really what we heard in the meeting, but that's all right.
That's what I explained to you in the meeting, that currently, if you had a pass on Prudence, you could use this transfer station. That's what I stated at the meeting.
I agree.
But
Now it changes.
well, it changes, but we hadn't gone through what we did on Monday night to align stickers and charge fees. So until we get to that point, we can't make any new rules.
I
about it.
understand that too. It's just when a presentation is being made and there's a concern, I mean, I thought it was a little awkward. I thought it was a little different that was the case, but that's the information that I was given. And if it was incorrect, it should have been said during that meeting, or we really have to stop and think about that. That's all I'm asking, and going forward, I wish that would happen.
Okay, so first and foremost, transfer station. The new sticker fee based on 2,043 stickers would be $331. We have a motion to approve the sticker fee at $331.
Mr. President, I'd like to massage that number a little bit. Being optimistic of that, I think more people are going to use the transfer station because of the curbside costs.
Okay.
And I'm just going to suggest that we assign a price of $325. Anything that we are short in the shortfall would have to come out of the repairs and maintenance fund. But I'm optimistic that we would make these goals at $325.
Is there a second?
Second your motion.
Motion is to set the transfer station sticker fee at $325. Ms. Blank.
Just a question for clarification. Can you help me understand where how you had arrived at the 2,043 stickers? Is that the current rate? Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so you take the cost to operate the transfer station You subtract out, I don't have that sheet in front of me. Oh,
That's
how
just-
did we get to 2023?
That's just the number of stickers sold.
That's just the number that.
So there's no escalation at all
no,
from the
so
current?
That's the
Okay, thank
actual
you.
number for this fiscal year.
Thank you.
And we did remove the prudence stickers that were previously in that number as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's a motion and a second to set the sticker fee for the transfer station at $325. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now we need to have a motion to set the enterprise transfer station enterprise fund provisionally at $798,436.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, on the next two pages, pages 82 and 83, here we present curbside. So the curbside program was also discussed Monday night, and based on council direction, the waste division manager position was moved to Public Works, as I stated. And two budget options are presented for your consideration. The first, page 82, is a budget that does not incorporate a pay-as-you-throw bag requirement. Based on current sticker sales of 3,225, the proposed budget for this option would be $1,730,319, and the recommended sticker price would be no less than $604. The following page incorporates a pay-as-you-throw program. So if pay-as-you-throw is added as part of the curbside program, the proposed budget for this option would be $1,797,409. There's the cost of the bags, but then you have the revenue of the bags, and then the recommended sticker price would be no less than $537 for the same number of sales.
Okay. Mr. Perriero?
Thank you, Mr. President. Question, and I kind of went into this one blindly because I was viewing yesterday. Does the average household use more than $67 a year in bags?
Yeah, what we did is we took the number of sticker sales, all three programs, the 436 households in Prudence, the 2,043 transfer station, and 3,225. You get a total number.
Yep.
Then we looked at the total cost of the bags. You know, first we did that for just the two programs because there's only two programs. Then we extrapolated how many more bags would be used based on the number of users in the other two programs. Then you get a total, and then we just apportioned it by the ratio. And that is how we came up with the number of bags to be used. I mean, this will be the first year of the program. It could be under, it could be a little over, but it'll probably be about right because we've been doing pay-as-you-throw now for a number of years for both the transfer stations.
So I'm a little concerned that although the pay-as-you-throw does offer, yes, a $67 decrease in the sticker price, that it is going to just inadvertently cause the household that does have curbside currently to end up paying more once you incorporate although I get where you're coming from, but I'm just the pay-as-you-throw bags and knowing your average household in this town, it's going to cost more than $67 a year in just bags.
It could, maybe yes, maybe no. What we found with the transfer station is that recycling rates went from single digits into the 30s when we implemented this. So you get a greater recycling credit. At the same time, it incentivizes people to, there's less trash. So you're throwing away less and you're being charged less than a tipping fee. And then don't forget, let's say people are using, let's say they are using more bags, you're getting more revenue from those bags. The other thing is that you can control your costs, and this is what we find in the other two programs. So if you are a family of 2 or 3, you're making less trash, so you're buying less bags, so your cost isn't going to be as high over that $537 figure as somebody who's got a larger family and is producing more trash. So an argument was made at the beginning of this program years ago that it distributes the cost more fairly. These are just the two options.
No. Thank you.
Ms. Patton?
My question is, the number of stickers you're getting to the price, with the price there. Before or currently, you're going off of 4,000 residents, right?
That was the initial, the start of the program. We used 4,000. That was our estimated amount. That went down and that obviously caused the deficit. That deficit is rolled into this price. That deficit will be paid for in the next fiscal year. So ideally, the price of the program will go down the following year because it's an enterprise fund, you can't carry it. So each year has to pay for itself.
Okay, thank you.
Chris Carseller, 63 Leaps Road. Large bags cost approximately $2.
It's $10.75 for 5.
Okay, so $2. At the transfer station, you can wait 10 days, 12 days to go to the garbage to drop off your one bag if that's all you have. But if you have garbage pickup that comes weekly, you're going to use at least one bag a week. So one bag at $2 times 52 is $104. So that would mean if you're buying bags, you're going to do your pickup once a week. So it's $104. So the $67 difference doesn't work out. And last year when they talked about the pay as you throw, people who had curbside were totally against it. So that was the majority of the people who did not want that. And if you force them to do that, now if you have one or two bags, they're going to pay a lot more than the $604, whatever it was. You bringing that down from 620 to 604 will make a few people happy. So I would stick with no pay bags if that's what you're choosing, one or the other.
What is the council's pleasure? I will also agree that for the most part, people didn't want pay as you throw. They wanted to be able to, and as I think it was Dave from Mika said, you could throw anything you want in that barrel. If we go pay as you throw, now you can't throw anything you want in the barrel because it's got to be in a bag.
There are only a couple of you here on the council, but that was a big decision and that did, that was a huge discussion at the high school.
Yep.
I think people are going to be angry with us by instituting the pay as you throw. I think it needed to be investigated. I think it potentially could help the program, but I'm not, stuck 100% on having to go this route. But the people on the curbside have to be able to be better recyclers because the waste stream, besides what we pay, per customer, we have to incorporate our tipping fees and things of that nature. And if we're not getting the recycling rate that we see, for instance, at the transfer station up 30% or above, it's costing us in the long run. It's going to affect the program. So
agreed.
I can go either way.
I think we leave it status quo and go with the 604. That's my opinion, but
I'll make a motion that we go with the 604, the no pay as you throw option.
Do you want to round that number to something else?
well, if you round it, we don't cover the expenses. You can round it to 610 and you're gonna
Well,
potentially cover a surplus. If you round it down to 604, we would, if you round down to 600, we might create a deficit.
I would go up if anything.
605. If we're really.
I just going with the philosophy of the odd numbers and trying to keep a round number in there.
604 is round.
Okay.
As long as we're not going to another $62.
So is there a second yet?
Not yet.
Okay, second.
Thank you.
Ms. McDowell?
Yeah, I just think that the right thing to do would be a pay-as-you-throw program. However, because the incentive to recycle, to be good stewards of the earth, that is the way to go. However, given that our residents have used this program without pay-as-you-throw, I mean, I can't even imagine what we would face. But I do think that we should not give up on this, on educating people with recycling, and even educating people about the possibility of pay-as-you-throw and the reasons why pay-as-you-throw is the way to go. And that means that the town has to do a little better in getting that message out, I think. We all do.
Sounds like a slogan. Pay as you throw is the way to go. Yeah.
So I think I hear that as a warning, because this is a 5-year plan and we don't know what's going to happen in the second year, and we may be looking at pay as you throw in the third year.
We can also,
Another
I
concept.
really do believe that's
we're
the
all
road
still
we're
here.
going to be going down.
If we-
I do believe that, but
we continue to have bad recycling numbers, yes.
So this,
We can also ask our waste diversion manager to reach out to RIRAC to see if they have any funding for us for educational programs as well.
so this is the sort of Damocles over our head. Like, if we don't do it today, we investigated it. We know how it would work. So,
But we've also agreed to speak to MEGA about tightening up the program.
oh, that's a definite.
So we're not lost on that as well.
Right.
Just want to mention that.
If, again, if there are changes that are made in the next 6 weeks, roughly, with the way MEGA is going to handle our business, it could affect us and change the cost. But
And that
we need
is
to-
my hope.
We need
Right,
to
but
know.
we need to establish something now that allows Matt to go forward and gives people an idea of where we're gonna be at. So there's a motion and a second to establish Mr. Fitzmaurice, you have a question?
604.
We're 604. 604. So we have a motion and a second to set the sticker fee at $604 for the curbside program. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now we need a motion to set the enterprise fund for curbside waste collection at $1,730,319 provisionally.
So moved.
all right, I would like to get a discussion. So the second
Second for
in
discussion.
discussion.
Thank you, sir.
And this was talking to the lawyer. I agree to fully fund curbside for FY 2027, but put half of the funds into a contingency fund during negotiations of the present contract. And if Mr. Larissa was here, he could run this by you, but
There's,
so
they
you,
get paid monthly. So
that's
we'll,
what-
we'll have all the money.
you have all the money, but half of it is I don't know, that's what was suggested. So they get paid monthly. All
They
right,
get paid monthly.
all right,
So we already have half of their money for half of the year.
okay,
Why we negotiate? So
all right. Any,
okay. There is a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
And even though it didn't get to a second on, I just would like to speak to Mr. Reese's point that there is potential that may come out of these negotiations that we just appropriate a dollar amount that's less than the total fund, even though we are collecting money for the whole program.
Correct.
That could
And we
still
can
happen.
do that, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, Enterprise Fund, septic loan program is done. Enterprise Fund
Right.
for the,
Septic Loan program, you'll see that there's still activity, but this program is closed. So the last enterprise fund is the Arthur Daniel Howe House. This reflects the town's continued lease arrangement with the tenant who's renovating the property. The base fee remains the same for FY '27. And as in past years, the revenue is fully offset by an equivalent expense credit, so this results in a net budgetary impact of zero. We request provisional approval of $31,230 in expenditures and maintenance and repairs for the Arthur Daniel Howe House.
So moved.
Second, just one question.
Yes, sir.
How's the progress on that house coming?
Slow, but moving forward.
Okay. That's positive. Thank you.
Any other further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
So now if we can go to page 25. And this was redistributed to you today because it was updated. And
Rich, can you give us the bottom number just to make sure that we're all on the right page?
yeah, bottom line number is 79,181,527.
We still have $6,160 to be
Good.
made up.
It's going to change here once we.
6,160 is the delta between what was done last night and the 18,555 moved today. Is what I have is $6,160.
Okay. So this is the, this goes back to the expenditure summary page. And next we'll talk about debt service, which is summarized near the top of page 25. There is additional detail for those interested in and it starts on page 69 of the document. So as a reminder, the town is responsible for both town and school debt, and those obligations are incorporated into the general fund budget. So for FY '27, the total debt service is approximately $2.65 million. This actually represents a decrease of about $176,000 or just over 6% from the current year. And that decrease reflects the normal progression of our existing debt schedule. So for FY '27, we are asking provisional approval of the following: $5,000 for the annual bond administration fee, $1,557,420 for school bond debt, and $1,092,100 for town bond debt service. So this results in a total debt service appropriation of $2,654,520.
You don't need those individually, you just need the bottom line.
Just the bottom, the $2,654,520.
Mr. Grieve, do you have a question on the debt service or is it something else?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tom Grieve, 110 Third Drive. Last night, Mr. DeEuro provided the council with a calculation of the state housing aid reimbursement for the 2022 bond service, debt service. I want to let you know that I agree with his calculations, but it's important that you understand why there was a difference. Portsmouth residents were told they were going to get reimbursed 45% of the total debt service for that bond, both principal and interest. That is how I made my calculations. As I saw from Mr. DeEuro's papers and later confirmed with him after his presentation, RIDE actually bases their reimbursement on the net cost of the projects. The traditional, for a traditional bond covering the projects, our two calculations would have produced the same results. However, the 2022 bond is somewhat unique as an instrument. The town sold that bond with an above-market 5% interest rate. This product, this produced a premium above the $19.5 million face value. This premium cost the taxpayers an extra $2 million more in debt service, which RIDE will not reimburse by this difference. I bring this up tonight because the school department is planning yet another bond almost twice as big. If the voters approve that bond, the council needs to make sure they understand the complete implications of the instrument being proposed before allowing it to be offered for sale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you going to come back and help us learn what that is?
Well, the problem was there was no way to find out that the instrument had changed, until way late.
They do this after they issue?
When you give permission to issue it, you must put parameters on it so that if it's changed from those parameters, it has to come back for your approval. That was the difference that happened last time.
So you have to we have to put boundaries around what they're allowed to do so they.
That is
they
correct.
Can't do a premium bond and pay that extra money.
Well,
The state's not gonna
the
reimburse.
boundaries are up to what the council decides. You certainly can do a premium bond if you want, but you should know it, and so should the
That we're not going to get
resident.
reimbursed for anything above the base rate? Is that the right word to say?
It depends. There's a lot of,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
no, but there's a lot of other things that go into the reimbursement rate with RIDE.
I'll be happy to talk about the various things with you privately that would need to be specified or have a range around them. Thank you.
Chris Diorio is a great resource as well.
Being level funded.
Chris Diorio is also a great resource to use.
And just to clarify, it was stated that that the projected was possibly 45%, not definitively 45%.
Listen,
Wouldn't you know? I mean.
No.
When you go into
You do
this?
not know until the projects are
because-
completed and then RIDE reviews.
Initially, when this whole Build Our Schools Better program,
Yeah,
every project was going to be 55% as sold by Gina Raimondo.
yeah, okay,
That was a falsehood.
right.
If you build a new school, you might get 85%. I think East
Right.
Providence is getting 85%.
Yeah, if you go regional, there's a different percentage, but for what
Okay,
we were
alright.
going for in our final,
Okay.
because remember, the entire project started off something as
So
70
it-
something
it-
million
So
dollars.
it's just like anything else. Money is nothing more than a commodity, something you buy, something you sell, something you rent. And you just have to make sure that you know what you're buying.
Chris does a very good job of trying to make sure we get as many and as much reimbursement as we can
Yes.
by packaging things together that allow for a greater increase. Because I think some of them, most of them were 35. I think one or two might have been 40,
Yes.
depending on what the projects are. So it's a shell game with RIDE, unfortunately.
Free money's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's not
Maybe.
free. You're paying for it. In the $250 million bond that's the state funded, two of them, I think. So, all right. Do we have a motion and a second to provisionally approve the 2.6? No, we don't.
No.
Okay, can we have a motion?
So
please,
moved.
to provisionally approve
Second,
$2,654,520. All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, just below that section, you'll see a section called Other. This outlines several non-departmental expenditures to be approved for next fiscal year. The total for this category is approximately $960,000 and represents a 4% increase overall. The largest component here is the capital improvement plan, which was just discussed and approved. You will also notice that we did not include funding this year for the Capital Reserve Fund or the Town Contingency Fund. Those were deliberate decisions as part of our effort to manage the overall levy and prioritize available resources. We're asking you to provisionally approve the following: $50,000 for additional OPEB funding, other post-employment benefits funding, $10,000 to the Open Space Reserve Fund, and $51,920 for grant matches, which allows us to leverage external funding for priority projects. So at this point, I got ahead of myself.
Okay, so we'll take them one at a time. Can I please have a motion to provisionally approve our OPEB fund, additional OPEB funding at $50,000?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We have a motion to provisionally approve $10,000 to the Open Space Reserve Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Question.
Yes.
I thought that was normally funded through real estate sales or something like that. I thought we were doing something along those lines.
We-
Like
Can't
a part
anymore.
of a transfer
Yeah.
fee, no? Okay. And so this is for buying,
If a piece of property happens to come up and we want to preserve it as open space,
okay,
we have a fund set aside for it. It got pretty well whacked down over the years with large purchases,
so
so.
we just starting this back up? Is that-
No, it's been a couple of years, I think, right?
No, all right, but what's the balance in there?
It's, is it in the back page?
Oh,
Your book, where it's the special revenue funds?
what is it?
Thank you.
86, thank you. Mary's right on top of this.
So the open space in there?
Find it quicker than me. I'm sorry.
It's probably in a restricted account, so we will get you that fund total
Oh, thank you.
tomorrow,
Written in invisible ink?
No.
unless
Oh.
you could find it now.
All right. All right, yeah, I'd like to know that, thank you.
Okay, sure. So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And then grant matches to be funded provisionally at $51,920.
So moved.
Second, I just.
Yep.
Rich, stupid question, but since it's a very specific number, I'm assuming these grant matches are already associated with certain grants.
It's a number of grants that we're anticipating and applying for, and this is what the total will come from.
Yeah.
6160 shortfall, that'd be tough to miss.
No, we'll figure it out. Yes, we'll get it figured out. Okay. Any other questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Do you need us to provisionally approve the bottom line other total? It's already all
No,
added
you've
up.
already done.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so at this point, you've reviewed all the elements of the proposed revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year town budget with the changes that we've all discussed and that you've approved. The town budget, both revenues and expenditures, is $79,166,565. So we would ask that you provisionally approve the bottom line revenue and the bottom line expenditure for the same amount, $79,166,565.
Okay, so we need to, but you're gonna adjust the revenue to make up that $6,000 that's missing?
It's all automatically done.
Okay,
So what the changes that you've made, that has changed the, first I'll read what the levy is. Go to this page right here.
He's got a recalculator.
Chart, yeah. It's microscopic. Okay, so the new levy total,
yeah.
there you go. The new levy is $67,218,115. And I'll publish this all tomorrow as well.
And that makes the new tax rate?
Well, that puts you $719,296 below the cap, and the tax rate on real estate and commercial property will be 9.837.
837, okay.
What was the number, that put us below the cap, please? 719,
Yes, $719,296.
thank you.
So the percentage, if you follow the percentage, is we're at 2.899. And the cap is 4 year over year.
Well,
Okay,
same.
so do we have a motion to provisionally approve the fiscal year 27 budget for the town of
Right.
Portsmouth? That's $79,166,565.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
I
Thank
have a question.
We're gonna,
Okay.
I'll get you that question.
Okay.
Is the one you just asked me, right? We'll get to that in
Yeah,
a second.
but it's
Yeah.
part of a discussion before the vote, but anyways. If we,
Just
ke-
a quick second. Motion passes 7-0.
yeah, it
Okay.
shouldn't have though, but it's all right.
Go ahead.
On page 22, we discussed this, the revenue for fire, under revenue for fire. We discussed this and I went home and I scratched my head and I can't understand it. So I tried to begin to look at it. And when I'm looking at it, it just didn't make sense. So we have for actual 2024, when I believe, if my research is correct, for 2024, we started this fund. And if I understand it, the way it was explained, is this is ambulance money that comes in, and correct me anytime if I'm on the wrong track. It's ambulance money that comes in and goes into the account, correct?
Percentage.
A percentage.
Goes into the account. The rest goes into the public safety capital fund.
Tell me, say that again?
Yeah, go to page,
I see the Public Safety Capital Fund, and I see it in, the actual in 2023 was 766,274. And then in 2024, it was 931,853. In 2025, it's 1.2 million. And in 2025, it's 1.423152. So each year, this fund increased, and we had actuals numbers of 262,438 in 2025,
correct?
right?
So as I explained, this was a council prior. Because of the skyrocketing cost of the apparatus, the fund will not be self-sufficient if we don't put more of the ambulance revenue in there.
Right.
So we're decreasing the amount of that revenue that goes into the general fund with the idea that we will finally wean ourselves off of that, and all the ambulance revenue will go into the capital plan. I mean, the cost of I don't know if Chief is still here. We just got a cost for an apparatus, and how much was that, Chief?
We bought one 3 years ago for $550, and new quote was $1 million.
Yeah. So it's just, 100% increases in the cost of apparatus. We're trying to keep this so that there is absolutely minimal impact on the taxpayer. This was what this was designed to do. So not only does it buy fire apparatus, but it buys 2 police vehicles a year. The cost of those police vehicles has gone from under $50,000. It's now on, by the time you outfit it with lights and everything else, it's almost $100,000 for a police car. So we have to wean ourselves off of this. This is what we started doing. And so this is why, while it looks like the revenue is decreasing, the revenue is not decreasing. We're just taking less of that revenue and putting it in a general fund. We're trying to get it into the capital fund so that we don't have to borrow money for apparatus and
So
cars.
do we know from year to year what the actual revenue is coming in? Is there any where do we see that? I tried to look in the audit, I looked here. So is it safe to say that from 2023 to 2024, that's the actual amount that came in?
I think it would be easiest if we just ran a report and added this as an addendum page or a section below that line so people could see how much is coming in year to year. And I think that would answer your question.
Is there ever money taken out? I know for vehicles, but has there been since the fund has been instituted?
For apparatus purposes, yeah,
Or-
absolutely, yes.
And so would have an account, you could do an account of what has come in since inception.
Other than the 2 police cars, which are automatic, Chief, when he's doing a request, comes before the council and outlines what the plan is for the vehicle, how the bids came in, and it gets your approval to expend that money before he buys the apparatus.
But you will provide for the last, since its inception, what the income is?
I think we can do that
Yeah.
pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah.
And just if I may, I think what the chief said, so people at home, I don't think you heard him, the last ambulance was $500,000 or
Fire
550?
truck, fire, not ambulance, fire.
Oh, fire truck,
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
The,
Sure.
Come to the mic.
Sit there. Right there, there's.
Cheers, cheers.
There you go. Have a seat, chief.
I think that's the last thing chief wants to be as a lawyer.
So what the plan first started in actually fiscal 22, that when we made a purchase right away, when we put this whole plan in place, that engine that took us over 3 years to get. What we paid upfront, $583,000. We just got a quote, I got it within the last week. Then to order a new engine, the best price we've got is just over $1 million. Our medical rescues, I got one in fiscal 23 for $424,000. We just spent $454,000, and the new quotes, not that we need one right now, $600,000. The ladder truck quote came in at over $1.8 million. And it's just unbelievable. And when the plan was put together, we didn't have any idea of these kind of prices. We looked at normal growth in revenue and normal growth in costs and came up with this plan. But apparatus, as I just showed you, almost 100% increase really since about COVID or just after that. They had a lot of trouble and this is nationwide.
Is there, did one of the companies go out of business? Is it?
No, the conglomerate,
Bought them
the
all?
Rev Group has purchased a lot of the KME that we use. I think E1, the Rev Group owns, they also own other truck businesses like street sweepers and so forth. But it's all being done under a big umbrella. If you go out right now and buy an absolute stock spec truck, just made to sell, nothing fancy, nothing that you ordered, it's at least 900,000 to get something that you had no say in how it was.
Just something off the lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this fund also, it covers our fuel, all of my fuel, the boats too. Fuel, maintenance, all of the maintenance. And as Mr. Rayner mentioned yesterday, the fees that we have to pay for the billing company. So, and it's going very well, except
The price is going through the roof.
the problem we're going to see coming up soon. We're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, I understand you were blaming the chief on that too, because the road's getting too safe. We're slowing traffic down. You're not having as many accidents. That's a good
It's
thing,
been
by the
good for the
way.
people, but not for our
Yeah.
revenue.
So, there's essentially three things we're doing to try to tackle this. Obviously, we're trying to maintain our equipment better to make it last longer. This is what we talked about when we talked about the fire budget. We're increasing the qualifications of the force, so we have more emergency and advanced life support personnel, qualified paramedics. When you have qualified paramedics on the ambulance, that increases the ambulance fees, and that helps us bring more revenue in. And then we're reducing the draw to the general fund so that we can keep this fund self-sufficient. And the whole premise of this, the whole idea behind this was to avoid those large purchases being added into the tax levy.
It certainly is a great idea. I just was having a really hard time understanding. And then when I looked at it and saw, I tried to look for a revenue, some sort of indicator that says how much is coming in and how much is going out from this, and I couldn't find that, so I just got confused.
Yeah, we'll add a page every year. We find something new, it makes it better. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
We've covered everything? We have
Provisionally approved, and as you said, we will have a public hearing,
June 11th.
June 11th
June 10th?
or 10th, I'm sorry.
You said 11th earlier.
No, it was May 11th before for. then.
Yeah, that is typically a Wednesday. And then the last meeting in June, you will formally adopt the budget. So yes, there's time to get Steve in. Yes, there's time to sit down with Mega. There's time to look at some of these things. So
And time for the
Appreciate it.
General Assembly to give more money to the libraries and hopefully some to us as well.
you are a funny guy.
There is a bill that asks to continue to fund it. I think the library bill is going to pass.
So we don't have to come tomorrow night?
We do not have to come tomorrow night, so.
I'm gonna do something fun tomorrow night. I'm
No,
gonna
what
go
you're
to the,
gonna
I'm
do-
gonna go
what
to
you're
the
gonna do-
police academy.
No, what you're gonna do is make a motion to cancel tomorrow night's meeting. for me.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. I appreciate all of you getting this done this evening, so we don't have to come back tomorrow night. And I can get up first thing in the morning and drive to New Jersey.
I got Corey.
Dave, can you say second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.